Hello, welcome to the tSports Network, the home of tabletop sports. I'm your host Rob, and I'm joined by Dan, and we're here in Hotel Schiphol in Amsterdam for the Age of Sigmar World Team Championships 2023.
We're on day 4 of 5. So on Wednesday and Thursday we had the singles, and now we are deep into the World Team Championships. 24 nations, 8 players a team, duking out to see which nation is superior in 2023.
And not only... Oh, start recording. Let's do that.
Ooh, yeah.
Hello, everyone. Not only is it day 2, it is also massive spice.
Ooh,
we are in the middle of what is one of the most exciting World Championships I've ever been to, because we have thanks John, we have got as you can see loads of different wrong one, not that one, this one. We've got loads of different players and teams competing it out, but there are very few who have stretched their way out.
Yeah, usually by this point in time, we've had a couple of clear front runners that have absolutely blitzed the competition, and some people who've fallen way far behind. And now we've seen very few caps this round, which has been insane. This tournament so far, which is insane, and we've seen some of the front runners go down early, meaning that it's anyone's game to play for.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So the standings are pretty good. The big news, though, is that Team England, and this is big news. This is not me.
Punching someone while they're down.
Yeah, not that. Like, England are the current champions. They've never dropped a round.
Yeah.
And yesterday they got 7-1'd. They got bodied.
Wow.
They got absolutely thunderstruck.
That's that's it. Yeah, call ACDC because we're going to lodge a copyright complaint. That's how bad that strike down was.
And they absolutely, we spoke to some of them this morning, they're not feeling confident, They are not feeling good, because that is a big kicking. Now, Denmark was the team to do it. Yeah. The Danish whirlwind appeared, and they're now up against Team USA, who we saw on the stream yesterday play against the wonderful Italian team.
Also playing amazingly. It's incredible. It's truly incredible. I mean, I think the thing that's scary, though, is that Team England have had this lofty position for a few years now, this really key dominant place, and for the first time they've taken a hit, and we'll see whether they bounce back with a fury or with a fluff.
That's the story. The story isn't... I mean, the story is that they were beat, but it's now the story of the team. All of these teams, and this is actually kind of interesting, all of these teams here are used to knockbacks. They're used to tight rounds. They're psychologically built, they've had year after year of, not getting I'm not saying the teams breezed through, because they didn't, but not having to pick themselves off a big crushing defeat and restart. Okay, so that's going to be interesting to see if they come back, and that is genuinely a very interesting storyline. I'd like to reapproach. So we've got that going on. Then we've got all the other teams, battle for the bottom, all sorts happening.
I was about to say there's catch cries of anything but last. There's so many things going on. The USA currently coming all the way from America to dominate in Europe. They are the top of the tables at the moment on the leaderboard. They are number 1. We saw them play an incredible round against Italy on stream at the end of yesterday.
I think it's fair to say, though, they've had the 2 easier matches. They had Republic of Ireland and then Italy. I mean, not to say that they're easy, but there's some very interesting
compared to, say, Australia going into France, England going into them. They had a smoother kind of punch through.
So this is their first day of big competition,
big challenge.
So the USA. Now, if the USA if one of those 2 teams absolutely caps, I don't know who. There's only France in the mix.
I was about well, that was the thing. We heard England say, I believe after round 1. Someone mentioned, if we couldn't cap our first round players, how are we going to cap anyone else? And I don't think that that's a shot at their confidence, because one of the other things I've heard said multiple times by English players is that it's not that they've gotten worse, it's that all these other teams have gotten better.
Yes.
They've brought so much more fuel to the fire. All the nations here, they're really competing. They're going hard. And I think what we see is most countries, their first couple, maybe they come in, they're not exactly sure, they come and have a good time, but then they come back with a fury a turn later. Australia, as a wonderful example last year, came in with only 8 players. Their coach was their player. They came in the night before and were fighting on fumes, whereas this year they've come in a few days before. They've made sure they're in a good place. They've got an assistant keeping them hydrated. They've got a coach giving them support, and they're really happy with how they're playing.
Yeah, I would also say, and I hope everyone is fair, kind of agrees with me on this. It's a real sign that Age of Sigmar is growing. Yeah. I think that's kind of the key takeaway. Like, I think there's always something to everyone being invested in the game, especially everyone watching at home. Me and Dan and all the players were invested.
Yeah.
Like, you want to know that the love and commitment. Like, I mean, some people identify as, shout out to Basil. I'm not sure if he's watching. One of my good friends from the USA. Basil is like, I identify as Seraphon. Yeah. If they aren't good, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And so the scene growing and the community growing and growing in the right way as well.
Absolutely.
And that means a special shout out to the Alliance Open guys, Tom, the rest of the event staff here from this weekend, because in my personal opinion, they've done a very solid job.
Absolutely.
Like, also, this is a room that needs management.
Yeah.
Like,
big. Yep.
There needs to be some structure. There needs to be teams being put in their place in some cases, and the event staff and specifically the refs are doing a really good job in that, and that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Happens in any sport.
Absolutely.
Dan. Yeah, you go over the ref, and you've got to really, as a culture, we've got to decide what we are. Are we like English football? We can start shouting at the ref and being like that, which I don't want to be.
No,
or is
God,
it like rugby, where if you even say "boo to the goose," if that referee,
off you go.
Yeah,
off you go. Back to the
referee's like, "Did you look at me funny?" Out.
You know what I think we should have? We should have a sin bin, like a penalty box, where it's just a glass box in front of us here, a box of shame, where where the players are sent. So if they cheat, they get a bunch of time, 20 minutes off their round, where they've just got to sit in that box and think about what they've done.
Oh, I love a sin bin idea.
Let's get a sin bin.
Especially on the clocks.
Oh, that's it. It's a sin bin on the clocks. They're just sweating, being like, I just lost 20 minutes of my game, while they're in the bunker box, sitting there with the rest of the tournament just staring at them, knowing you did wrong.
I love that
sin
idea.
bin. Let's get it in.
That's actually a legit good idea.
We should do that. Yeah, let's get a sin bin. We'll put it on stream. We'll have a sin bin cam. Yeah. Except the only problem is half the Australian and Irish team will be there the whole time. Not because they're particularly bad players, but because they do love to get on the turks.
They do. Right, we're going to go through our exciting match today. Obviously, Denmark are playing the USA, but we already had them on the stream yesterday.
Yeah.
Or we had the USA on the stream yesterday. So we're not going to be covering that match.
We have another amazing matchup of teams both on 2 wins, both in contention, and with some incredible lists. They're not the same lists that we've seen on a couple of the other teams.
Also worth noting the 2 teams we've got. So we've got the Czech Republic, former host nations last year, Czech Republic, former host last year, and then we've got Greece, their first event.
On debut.
Yeah, I don't know if my friend Giannis is watching at home. I love him to pieces. I got a huge love for the Greek community. I don't know if you know this, there's a couple of smaller Greek teams have always made it over to things like Blood Tithe, which is a great English teams event. Yeah, that's some of my favourite people. And to everyone in Greece, I say Malaka. That's what I say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah.
Balaclava.
Malaka. Okay, we've got this.
Baklava?
Okay?
I don't know.
Let's go. I don't know who I'm rooting for.
The one thing we do have to say before we start is we are going to give these names a red hot bloody go. We're not going to try and avoid saying them, but we will absolutely get them wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. Just before, let's just pin that against the wall.
Right. So we are going to go through the list. I'm going to be reading through the Greek list.
Great, because that means I get to read Team Czech Republic, and there is at least one list here that I am very, very excited for.
So the overlays aren't updated. Just to give you some kind of and again, I'll come back to us for a moment. To give you some idea on the tech, we have to wait for the pairings to be over, which has already been done, and then everyone has to go to a table, and then we have to then update all the overlays. It's an incredibly crunchy part.
Yeah, it's so they pair players into players, then they pair players into battle plans, then they pair terrain maps onto tables.
Like this. You got an A
at
and
the
B.
moment, look at this. The amount of, there's so much paper strewn about from just notes.
So understand that they're still deploying, but we're going to go through this process now so that we're comfy and in the zone.
So let's do it. So table 1, we've got Ideneth versus Slaves to Darkness.
But Ideneth Deepkin belonging to Greece. That's me.
So I can jump in first then. Let's have a talk about this Czech Slaves to Darkness list.
We should probably talk about the battle plans.
Oh, absolutely. Position over power. We're talking position over power.
Okay, so position over power.
This is one of my favorite battle plans in this. I know not everyone agrees, but I love it. So in this battle plan, your standard scoring is counts. Hold 1, hold 2, hold more for 3 points a turn. But the big one here is you've got these 2 side objectives. They are worth 1 point on the hole 1, hole 2, hole more. However, you get an additional point if you control it with a galley champion, and they disappear on round 4.
So a Galician champion is obviously a hero with a wounds characteristic of 9 or less, and isn't like a named character. So your generic foot heroes can't be cavalry either.
Usually not the biggest heroes in the game, unless you're ogres, but they do the work. Now, amazing, because those 2 side objectives that are worth all those bonus points disappear after round 3. So you've got this push through the middle against your opponent while these 2 flank battles are going that decide the fate of it. Because if you can score big on those side objectives early, you keep your opponent out of the game in turns 4 and 5.
Yeah, agreed. Why are we not showing USA versus... I just want to keep answering this question because I want you all to know. Because what happens is in a Swiss event, whoever wins that then ends up being on the stream again. If they win that, they'll be on the stream again. There's only 24 teams here at the moment. That means that we would put the same team on probably for 4 rounds out of that mix. So there's still all to play for. While definitely if Denmark cap, they're in for the run-in. We'll do the math after this round. And if the next round, or USA, and if the next round looks like if they cap, they win the event, they will be back on the stream. But there still is all to play for. And remember, that's currently the if you will, the top points game.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely not the winning game right now.
Yeah, and remember, like Rob said, there's 24 nations here. We've got 24 nations, different play styles, different people from around the world, and we'd love to show off the best performing teams and as many nations as we can. So we found a really interesting matchup. They're both playing for the win. They're both potentially going to be on the top tables at the end. So we really wanted to bring this one rather than one we've already seen.
Exactly. All right, so Dan, this is the battle plan we're playing. 2 in the middle, 2 on the sides. Galician champions work really well for them.
Yep.
And you've got...
I've got the Slaves to Darkness list being piloted by Marius No Love Papa Petros Poiratorios. Andre Tiki. What?
That's what Knights of the Empty Throne. That's okay. That's what their name is. That's fine.
Interesting. Okay.
Marius.
I've got. We might have. Maybe there's a thing here because I've got
Inet Deepkin versus Slaves to Darkness. So it's right.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's probably their name as they submitted it to Worlds is different to their name.
Right, but the list I have here isn't a Knights of the Empty Throne list for the Czech Republic. Interesting.
Hold on, chat.
Let me have a look. We'll give you a second here. We'll jump through and I'll find out. Maybe I was in the wrong... we were looking at the wrong table, potentially. Give me 2 seconds here. Never mind. I have found it. Yes, it is a Knights of the Empty Throne
Well, I can tell you about the Inet Deepkin list.
Yeah, jump on that. Give me a second.
Although this by Dimitri. Dimitri, hello. He's running Dom Khaine. He's got an Akkadian King, we'll see go down, an Ishran Soul Raider, Skullscryer, some Namati Thralls. He's got 2 use of 20. He's got some Namati Reavers. Now, Inet Deepkin are generally a very fast mobile melee army. They've actually got a pretty low win rate at this event. So they're not. No, they've got a low win rate. Sorry, globally.
I was about to say.
Globally.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see them be picked as part of a team. But they're normally a fast melee army looking to get good towards turn 3. Not forgetting that these objectives disappear at the beginning of turn 4.
Yep.
So that's going to be an interesting mix, and we'll see them deploy in a moment. And he's up against Knights of the Empty Throne.
He is up against Knights of the Empty Throne. I'm a potato, and they are being played by, my goodness gracious, treat yourself to a vowel, Ondrej Zlesintiki.
Yeah, Andre.
At Knights of the Empty Throne, it's being run by Be'lakor and a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, so not much in the way of galley champs for this one. Battle line is 3 units of Varangard, 2 big 6s and 1 3, and then we've got a Spawn, bless him, a little emotional support Spawn again. But in a really key move, the General is not any of those units of Varangard, which is a really, really interesting move. We often see Varangard being the General, but yeah, so there we go. Great. Let's jump across to Table 2.
Table 2. So that's going to be same battle plan.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the objectives, same thing. So same battle plan. We've got Dimitrios representing Greece, and we've got Mikhail representing the Czech Republic, Czech. And he's playing Calibron. So for Greece, we have got Helon, and I mean, it's no surprise what is in this list.
I was about to say.
It's probably it's an army with one of the widest set. I love how Slave to Darkness players complained, and they were like, not Slave to Darkness, sorry, Lumineth Realm Lords players complained, they were like, I can't believe we've got like 7 different books, and we've got all these different models. I was like, you only had to buy 3, bro.
You're still using the same models you bought in book 1.
You're fine. You're fine. Just carry on doing what you're doing.
Chill out, blood.
So obviously he's playing Lumineth Realm Lords, and he has got, thank you. He's got Lumineth Realm Lords there. You can see them on the screen. Feel free to press that while I'm going through. And he's got Teclis, he's got Sonari Cathalar, he's got some Wind Chargers, and he's obviously got 40 Sentinels. So your classic.
Your classic YMCA-loving elf.
Yeah, so that's been played by Dimitros. Shout out to Dimitros. And he's up against Mikkel with his Calibron.
Yeah, look, Mikkel's Calibron, we're seeing a couple of dock lists, not as common these days, but so we've got Marathi, the Shadow Queen, the big snake Muppet herself, with a Melusa Ironscale, a small snake Muppet, and then a Slaughter Queen. Just another red-headed Muppet. Really, I'm sorry, calling a game with these kind of elves, I'm going to be biased, and I'm not going to apologize for that. We've got 15 Bloodstalkers, snake shooty bow ladies, and then we've also, that's the Gitz. We've got 15 bow snakes. We've got 9 Khaine Shadow Stonkers and another 9 Khaine Shadow Stonkers, so they'll be dancing around the board picking up objectives. Then we have 2 5s of Canary Heartrenders, flying bat ladies that are going to do a great job of grabbing points and no doubt trying to screen out those side objectives.
Okay, so what we have is a shooting castle. So the Lumineth Realm Lords army, which is going to be deployed at the bottom, is a shooting castle versus a shooting castle, which is quite a fun little match, with one unkillable model on one side and one unit that can control the board really well in Teclis on the other. So you got Marathi versus Teclis, 2 gods. She's a goddess, a bona fide goddess now, eating some elven souls to do it. So that's going to really upset who are the successors to the High Elves from the old world. So it's a really fun match. Jumping over to table 3, we have a new battle plan. So tables 3 and 4 are playing a new battle plan, and they'll be playing ours for the taking. So as you can see here, we've got 3 objectives across the center. Now, the important part to talk about with this is in every battle plan, you normally start 18 inches away from your opponent, but this, you start a mighty 5 inches away from the objective, and then you start a mighty only 11 away from the actual enemy territory. So it can be, if you have 5-inch move, you've got a 6-inch charge. You are very close. So the center objective is worth more points. You get an additional 1 victory point if you hold the middle with a Galician champion. So that'll be pretty clutch. So we'll try and keep an eye on that when that happens. But this expects some very aggro armies
Absolutely.
here. So we've got Lucas Kaluza playing the Jaws of Mort, Gloomspite Gitz, a melee army that wants to be very fast and fight you, against Jan Tomek with a Gav Spawn Beast of Chaos army, which is just going to run at you as fast as possible. So Dan, hit me up with that Beast of Chaos.
Oh, these thick beasts. Now, we've only got 1 Beast of Chaos army in this collection.
Heartbreak.
Devastating, but wonderful to see. So we've got some Gav Spawn. They're, as we've seen in just about every army, led by a Doom Bull, a big, beefy Minotaur death machine that loves to whip his followers into a frenzy and make them charge in the combat phase. Then we've also got a great Bray Shaman, a magical goat that likes to throw fire from the edge of the board. Now, we've got 2 units of 3 Morgite Chaos Spawn. Now, they'll be really clutch when we get into this game, but they make your opponent hit worse. They take away attacks from opponents, and there's 6 of them across the board. There's a unit of 6 Bulgors, a unit of 3 Bulgors, so we've got 9 big Minotaurs altogether. And then we've just got 10 Gors, a Gorgon, and a Cygor. Incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, actually. I'm pretty excited about that.
Really interesting list. I think there's a lot of tech there.
Yeah, there is. Then we've got, it's definitely not the drop and eat that we see from the 9 Bulgor list. Then we've got Gloomspite Gitz being played by Lucas. Shout out to Lucas Kaluza. He's got the Jaws of Mork. He's got a Fungoid Cave Shaman, Loon Boss, Grinkrak. Grinkrak is really important in this list. Gives the rest of the army fight on death. Well, not the rest of the army, a unit.
A unit.
Then he's got 3 units of 5 Point Grab Bounders, which are legitimately what every which is what every medium cavalry unit wants to be. Like, honestly, 140 points of just pure. We saw, don't forget yesterday, we saw just 5 Boycott Bounders win that game for Noah for Team USA.
Absolutely, cleaned an entire objective of all the Fire Slayers.
Bonkers. Their job is to be tough. Their job is to be tough. 36 Squig Herd and then 30 Squig Hoppers with a Marshall Slogoth. Now, Lucas, we actually saw, Lucas is actually, I think, German. He's merking for Team Greece.
Wow.
And we saw him on stream during the singles, beating the Iron Jaws player to go 5-0 at singles.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we've got an update from Lucas how the rest of his event has gone, but Lucas could very well be on an undefeated streak at the moment, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So love to see that. So let's jump over to, and then he's up, we've done this. So we've got Beast of Chaos. They've got a lot of tech to do with melee, fighting, shutting stuff down.
But they don't want to. They don't want to get bogged down anywhere. They want to keep moving around the board, and the Gitz are going to absolutely flood the board with those squigs, trying to trap them in.
Agreed. And then finally, table 4, we've got Rene Horke playing his playing his Ogre Underguts.
Yep.
And then Stylianos. He's already stolen my heart like he would any other woman on a 1830s holiday. And Stylianos with the Gore Tide, so playing Blades of Khorne.
Wow.
And they're still playing that same battle plan.
Yep.
Don't forget, they're going to be 11 inches apart, and yikes, especially into Khorne.
Very tight. Really interesting battle plan as well, because the question is, do you load up on your home objective to keep it safe, or do you put a lot of your forces here ready to push the assault turn 1 and get the gold off of your opponent? Now, the Ogres, close to my heart, the big, beefy men and women of the Morp tribes, we're seeing an Underguts list, so not Boulderhead like we saw in round 2. These are the shooty Ogres, and this is an interesting Underguts list. Usually we see a lot of shooters behind screens of Iron Guts and Noblars, but this is very, very different. So we have leading it a Frostlord on Stonehorn, as is tradition, because the Frostlord on Stonehorn absolutely slaps. He's a big, beefy ogre on back of a rock cow, and it punches holes in the opponent. We've got a Slaughtermaster. He's a spell-casting butcher who has a big old cauldron of blood that he's going to be dipping a toe in, having a little taste, and then handing out the goodies to the rest of the team. And a Firebelly, a shockingly bad ogre model with a wonderful spell that makes things not see him, so he's a great galley champion to be scoring those objectives, especially in the middle there. Now his battle line, this is where this list is interesting. It's 8 Mournfang cavalry. So it's a unit of 4 Mournfang and then 2 units of 2. Now these are big, monstrous saber-tooth, like kind of cross between a saber-tooth tiger and a cow.
Heavy cavalry.
Heavy cav, big and chunky. And then 3 Iron Blasters, giant cannons strapped to the back of a rhino with an ogre pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and they've the Iron Blasters, while not defining the Age of Sigmar meta like some armies have, like Lumineth Realm Lords, are an incredibly effective tool piece into a variety of different armies. They don't necessarily keep monsters at bay, but they definitely are an issue.
Well, we saw them take off for Scarbrand in a single round of shooting last game, 2 games ago.
Yeah, definitely. Like there are some other armies that that they're very good at, but they're also very, very good into good armor saves. Underguts give them additional rend, so those cannons are going to be able to do some additional damage, especially if they get into close range with the Khorne Force, which I'm sure they're going to. That Khorne Force is the Gore Tide. Scarbrand is in there, so there is a big monster to shoot at.
We could see him get shot twice.
Yeah, a Bloodmaster, a Bloodthirster in Sense and Rage, which is another hero. Now that's a big Bloodthirster, like a chosen avatar of the God of War. Weirdly, though, it's actually more of a functional tech piece, which is
it's because he gets his axe at the dollar store.
The Khorne book is the weirdest book in the world, and then Slaughter Priest in there as well. Then you got 8 Claws of Karnak, 2 units of 10 Blood Reavers, sorry, 2 units of 10 Blood Reavers, and then Garek Reavers, and then 6 Varangard with the Mark of Khorne. So they are going to be able to pile and attack twice. So you've got some really good units, specifically the big hammer unit are going to be the Varangard and also Scarbrand. So that's a melee force into another melee force, but most importantly, the Underguts army has also got shooting available to it. So Ogres, let me know who you're rooting for in the chat. That's tables 1 to 4. Going on to tables 5 to 6, we've got a new battle plan being played on this.
Path of the Champion.
Path of the Champion,
So we've got some big champions, time to take out some big points.
So we've got 4 objectives on the board, but if you hold the 2 objectives that are not in your territory, you can see them here. Red and yellow denotes the territory for one of the 2 players. Then that means that you gain an addition. You get the opportunity to do an additional battle tactic.
Massive.
And you do battle tactics every turn, or your turn. So then you'd be +1 battle tactic, which means a potentially +2 points. But you need the units to do this. I'd be unsurprised. I haven't actually even looked at what armies are on there. If those armies don't contain a lot of Galician champions, something like Fire Slayers. I don't know what armies are on there yet. I haven't looked. So
We're about
Dan,
to see.
let me know. We've got Lucas Barter with his Jaws of War against Dominic with his Pretenders.
So we have spoken about Gitz many times throughout the course of this coverage, and we will continue.
They are the most popular faction here at the event. There are 23 out of the 21 out of the 24 teams have got the Gitz, and they're all running the same sub-faction, the Jaws of War.
Let's remember, crazy good book with crazy easy to paint models, and they are lovable. They are lovable, which means so a lot of people jumped on them like a bandwagon full of fudge.
I just want to tell everyone I'm having a lovely day. I hope Dan is having a lovely day too. What an amazing experience being able to talk about the most amazing Warhammer, a great game, like loads of wonderful people. Let's just go. Shout out to the table. Let's do have a great day.
All right. So we've got the Gloomspite Gitz, as we said, in Jaws of Mork, meaning on the charge. They're getting extra attacks for their bitey squigs. We have a Madcap Shaman with the moon-faced Mommet, which is going to be just doing a little bit of debuffing there. Then who is a Tunnel Master. We have a Fungoid Cave Shaman with the Clammy Hand, giving that additional ability to bring units back. Improving the ability to bring units back from the dead and recycle them. 2 Squig Bosses to buff the units of Squigs, and Grincrack the Great, though he should be labelled as Grincrack the Awesome because he provides so much utility to these Squig units. Now, in his unit, he's got 2 reinforced units of Squig Herd and a unit of Boingrot Bounders. He then has a unit of Spider Riders in the list.
He does.
Amazing. A Marsh Crawler Slogoth to be handing out that +1 to hit to all of those Squigglies. And then another unit of Spider Riders. Incredible. He's got 2 units of Spider Riders in this list.
Yeah, no, they're great screens. So there's a big change from Age of Sigmar 2 to Age of Sigmar 3, specifically with coherency. What this meant is that you used to, I'll draw it on the screen for everyone to see at home, you used to be able to just do a little line of lads in front of you and create a screen. So each one of those little circles is a human or as some infantry. But now cavalry on these bases like this have started to perform effectively the same job. So if you do have a sub 100 point or even around 100 point cavalry unit, they fulfill the same kind of role with the bonus of obviously these could only move so far, but the cavalry unit can move even further. So they've got the ability to not only be a screen, which is something your opponent has to attack before they can attack your good stuff, but also they've got utility in being able to just push further into the midboard and then block stuff off. So they're very, very useful.
Really interesting list. All right, and they're facing off against Slaanesh.
They are facing off. They are facing off against Slaanesh, Dan.
Which
You're
is
absolutely right.
Really interesting combo because we've
honestly
got
the Slaanesh. So everyone has bought Slaanesh to put into Gitz.
Absolutely.
And there's a couple of reasons for this. I'll talk through this really quickly. You've got Contorted Epitome, Shard Speaker of Slaanesh, Be'lakor Dark Master. Be'lakor's really important because you're going to be able to shut down one of the massive bricks that you've got there of 36 Squig Herd. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're going to shut that down. It makes them have to roll the dice to be able to move, then charge, and then fight. So the likelihood that they're ever going to get across the board and fight you in a turn is actually pretty low. So Be'lakor, again, best unit in the game. And then you've got Contorted Epitome, which does so much work, and then the Shard Speaker of Slaanesh. But only 2 Galician champions, that's important to know. Yeah, whereas there's a lot more
there's about 4 in the Gitz list.
And then 3 units of Blitzbarb Archers, but they are in Galician Sharpshooters. So that's a battalion. So right now, this is a battle plan which but if you do get any heroes that are Galician champions on these 2 objectives, then you can do additional battle tactics. But this army has the ability to shoot those heroes when normally you wouldn't be able to shoot them, which is pretty good. And then he's got 5 Blitzbarb Seekers. Again, they're a good shooting unit. And then 10 Slickblade Seekers. And that's the kind of key pit to put down. This is the engagement that the Slaanesh player wants. They've got an ability called Euphoric Killers, so when they charge in, every attack that they do, or every attack that they get through to the wound step of the attack phase, will generate them depravity points. Depravity points is something Slaanesh use as like a kind of bank account. They fill it up, and when they get to the top, they then
feel really good about themselves.
Unlike actual economies, it trickles down, then everyone in the army gets like a buff. They get -1 to hit, they get a 5-up ward save, so they get all of these.
Slaanesh really are the communists of Age of Sigmar in that they're
more socialist. They collect and give.
They collect. Okay, they collect and give.
There's not full parity.
That's true.
But importantly, so this is really fun. So a lot of So what they are all trying to do, or what the Slaanesh players are trying to do across the whole tournament, get paired into Jaws of Mork, so they've done well here, and then they want to get all the depravity.
Yep.
Not sure if it'll pan out though, because Lucas is a phenomenal player. So we'll see.
He is, and that Be'lakor turning. The Gitz being able to get into there and choose their commitments is probably going to be good.
Pershaw's got it absolutely correct in the chat. Gobbos are little depravity pinatas.
You just slap them. Okay, so shall we go across to table 6?
We will, and we started to actually see. We got to the stage now. We're starting to get these armies deployed. Now, so love to see that. So we've got Grinning Blades at the top. Yikes! Versus Marios Ravagers.
Rob, here we go. Thank you for this shot, Scrivo. Let's talk about your favourite, the cruelest of boys, the coolest of girls.
Let's go, Marios.
The Bog Gobblers. No,
I'm just
themselves.
on Marios' side.
All right,
immediately.
Pavel, you've got it. I believe in you. So Kruleboyz, notoriously the worst performing army in Age of Sigmar at this point in time. However, he did pick up a win last round, and he almost took down KO in round 1. I know you don't want to believe it, but facts are facts and facts are facts. Stop bringing Rob fudge, TOs. He is full of... He's more fudge than man.
We got to go through.
All right. So we've got a Killer Boss with Stabgrot, and Snatcher Boss on Sludge Raker Beast, and Swamp Boss Scumdrek, who is a named character handing out buffs. We've got 2 Swamp Caller Shamans, 3 Swamp Caller Shamans, which will be handing out the extra poison. Now, in the battle line, we've got 3 units of 10 Gut Rippers and 10 Hobgrot Slitters. They're not going to do much this game except stand around and die. And then we have 2 units of Man Skewer Bolt Boys.
Stop rooting for the Kruleboyz
now,
chat.
Everyone in the chat, hurt Rob, root for Kruleboyz. Now, the thing about this list is them being super sneaky, and they're going to be dishing out tons of mortal wounds on 6s. It's an entire army that fishes for 6s.
Yeah, so all their weapons are envenomed. They're covered. They've got their special rule is called venom encrusted weapons, or the View, as we call it. And that means that they do lots of mortal wounds, as Dan said. But because of that, they are the ultimate glass cannon army.
Absolutely.
But they're actually not quite a glass cannon army. What they are is a wafer thin. Yeah,
it is a wafer thin.
Have you ever seen it when the monkey has like some candy floss and it just melts into the water?
Yeah,
that's the army.
It is, but if you can get those shots off beforehand, and the thing that you really want to do is be able to screen, hide, and shoot. And with all of those Swamp Caller Shamans, what they do is they take those venom encrusted weapons, they make them extra crusty crusty weapons. You've also got the Scumdrek there as well. He's handing out the crust. There's no bread in this list, Rob, because it's all crust.
Okay, right. So he's up against Slaves of Darkness, being played by Marius, Archeon the Everchosen, Dark Oath War Chief, War Queen, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and then 30 Splintered Flang.
Wow.
And then the Unmade, some Untamed Beasts, and then another unit of Untamed Beasts. Now, that's pretty good for an army. Now, the 2 blocks of 30 Splintered Fang, which you can see already being deployed there at the front in these kind of large trays. They are a very good melee unit. But because we're in Ravagers, when that unit does die, they're going to bring that unit back on at half strength. So 15 are going to be returned.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Lord of the End Times himself, chosen by 4 Chaos Gods.
The old world killer.
Yeah, he's basically middle management for Slaves to Darkness. There are 4 Chaos Gods, and he's kind of the CEO. They all report to him, and but he's also blessed by all of them. So he's a one-man fighting machine. He's one of the ultimate combat monsters. Got an incredibly good save. Got 20 wounds. Might have more wounds now. Actually, he used to have 20 wounds. Very survivable. Very, very good in combat. Has got loads of different abilities and buffs. It's got a fight on death mechanic as well. Knows the turn roll. There's all sorts of mechanics going on there. Marius has got a real big tech piece in this, but that is also a spot for all of this is a spot for all of the shooting to go into it. This is absolutely like a focal point for all those mortal wounds. Yeah. So like we got a race on because there's 2 more games.
We do. All right.
And Table 7 has just started. So we've got hosts. We've got Host Duplicitous being played by Tom Moulders. And then we've got Zenik with his Helon. Dan, let's just quickly go through.
Super quickly through it. We don't need to touch on it because if I have to talk about Helon one more time, I'll throw myself into the sea. He's Helon, Lumineth Realm Lords, pointy, shiny elves with untrustworthy ambitions. Teclis, the big, silly mage, and then a Sonali Cathlar, a big, cryy sook. We have 10 Aurelian Wardens to just get shot and die. 5 wind chargers riding kangaroos because roos rule, 2 units of 20 sentinels because why would you buy anything else, 5 Qunari life takers. We've got the Ravnax Gnashing Jaws and Umbral Spell Portal, and absolutely no will to live if I have to talk about one more heal on list. Rob, do you want to tell us about Tzeentch? Because this is not Guild of Summoners, and I'm excited.
Imagine going to Worlds last year, seeing the same Teclis Castle 20 times, and then being like, won't be like that next year. Wrong.
Absolutely
wrong.
Yep.
There's nothing more likely. Okay, so he's up against Tom Mulder's Host Duplicitus. Let me just get this out for you. Host Duplicitus is Tzeentch, is what that is, as an army. So a magical spellcasting army, normally builds itself as a castle. One of my favourite things to describe. Cursing of Tzeentch, Kairos Fateweaver, so that's a big bird, which you can see deployed at the back left-hand corner here. So there's Kairos. And then we've got 20 pink horrors, 10 pink horrors. These are all in Host Duplicitus as well. And then 9 Corvus Cabal. So the important point to note about this, Dan, is he's also got the Soul Screen Bridge and the Umbral Spell Portal. This is a pretty tough matchup actually for Tzeentch, because what Tzeentch can do is they can use Destiny Dice to auto-cast a spell, put it across the board, Dan. But the problem with that is that Teclis gets an automatic unbind each hero phase. So he's going to be able to shut that down. But thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, let me just check. No, he's taken Arcane Sacrifice as a suggestion, as a command trait. So that means that the entire battle plan for this Tzeentch army, which is to teleport a unit of pink horrors over, Destiny Dice charge them so you can't retreat away from them. Should be defeated by the fact that Teclis can just stop that spell from ever happening.
Yes. That's going to be really tough. However,
we should talk about the fact that the battle plan that they're playing is Prize of Galette. Whoever goes second, there are 5 battle plans on the board, 5 objectives, on the board. Whoever goes second gets to choose which one of the 3 center ones are active on the first turn. Then after that, all the other ones are active by the player who goes second every turn.
Yeah, really, really interesting. So a big push to go second, to control the objective play and score the points. Awesome. They're into the first turn. We'll come back to them shortly.
But we'll just let you know that Lumineth have got the first turn.
They had the choice and they took it, meaning that they're putting themselves on for a double turn depending on the priority, but probably looking to control the roll and get to choose which objective disappears at the top of round 2. However, we do have one more table to jump to, and it features more
Tzeentch.
elves. Gosh, throw me into the ocean. And whoever in the chat is suggesting that I was ever building a Lumineth army, that is fake news, lies and slander. I will have none of it. And Orzik in the chat, absolutely. Kruleboyz, it's not a hot boy summer, it's a Kruleboy summer, and I am here for it. Now let's talk about this Disciples of Tzeentch army. It is Guild of Summoners, which we have seen multiple times, so this list is going to want to summon a bunch of those big old bin chickens, a bunch of lords of the magical chaos arts with big wings, big beaks, and big dreams. But really interestingly, this list has a Gaunt Summoner of Tzeentch, a Magister, and then Old Mate Kairos, meaning it only has one Arcanite Summoner to summon those bin chickens from. He's going to have to do a lot of work to keep it in because the Gaunt Summoner is a demon, unless I'm mistaken. In the battle line, we have 20 Pink Horrors of Tzeentch, 10 Pink Horrors of Tzeentch.
Gaunt Summoner isn't a demon.
He isn't.
You would think.
He's an Arcanite.
He previously, he's not a demon. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. 30 pink horrors split across 2 different units, so they're going to be getting chopped up, popping into blues, and then just being a really annoying screen. Truly wonderful game mechanic there. We've got 10 Kyric Acolytes as well, whose job will most likely to get shot, hold an objective, and explode, but they have foolish mortals who swore their souls to Tzeentch, so they deserve everything they get. A bevy of endless spells. We've got the Cogs, we've got the Burning Sigil, we've got the Quicksilver Swords, making a little showing, all in one battle regiment, though, meaning that it was a roll-off, but Tzeentch will have the choice of who has first turn.
Okay, so let's just remind ourselves exactly who's playing on what tables and what battle plan they're playing. So we've got table 7-8, which we've just recovered, and on table 8, as you can see, Tzeentch have got the first turn. Well,
who are they
Daughters
playing?
of Khaine, sorry. Oh, yeah, they're playing Daughters of Khaine. It's Marathi the Bow Snakes.
We spoke about it.
For anyone whoever needs me to explain it, it's Spiridon is playing with Marathi, who's a goddess, and a bunch of snakes who she makes shoot twice. So, Okay, so we're just going to let you know what's happening in these games. So we're going to talk about Table 8, and the first thing that's happening is that the Daughters of Khaine are going first, and because they're in Calibron, they're going to be able to teleport a unit of these bow snakes, and they're going to move forward, and what they're going to try and do is shoot Kairos. That's going to be the goal. Their goal is to shoot Kairos, and the reason for that is Kairos really helps the army scale. Yeah, it really helps the army scale. It does lots of damage, but also, and most importantly, it's just a great source of fate points, which is what they use to summon.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll come back at the end of that shooting phase. Be excited to know what those units do shoot
Absolutely.
at.
Daughters of Khaine don't want them scaling because they are snake people, so they don't want anyone else with scales.
That's true. And on table 7, just... Tzeentch gave away the turn. I think that's because they just were like, we don't want to get doubled by the bow snakes.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you want to reposition after you get shot.
Yep.
And then on table 7, the game we just covered, so these are both Prize of Galette as battle plans. We have Host Duplicitous in the top left-hand corner, Helon in the bottom. Helon are taking the first turn. And I don't know what I'm seeing, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, I have never seen this in my entire existence. That looks like, I don't know if you've seen that, Dan, Teclis moving out.
Is he leaving? Because usually Teclis likes to stay in his bubble. He stays in the box with everybody else. You build the box and you stay in the box.
You never leave the box.
Don't leave the box.
What is this, Checha? What is this? What are you doing?
Gosh, maybe he sees the Matrix.
This is already. There he is. There he is. Look at that. Oh no, wrong. No, got it.
Hey,
oh my God!
He's confident.
That is a Saturday morning play.
Absolutely.
What is that?
Okay, so usually what we would see is we'd see a bunker set up around this shrine with Teclis. However, Teclis decided to teleport out, putting, I'm guessing, pressure on this setup of units here.
I think. So it's a hero phase. It was a teleport.
Yeah.
And my assumption is that what it is designed to do is to stop any casts from Kairos. Is what we're currently looking at. Getting within 30 inches. You need to be... Wizards, when they cast spells, they have ranges. Like some spells only cast 12 inches, some cast 18 inches. But if you're another wizard, you can mess with their mojo, and what you can try to do is you can try to stop their spells. But you have to be within 30 inches. So it looks like a teleport to within 30. I
think what we've got here, the grey Lycan has said it in the chat, and I think that's absolutely correct. What we have is a nerd off. We've got two nerds staring at each other, both, and it's an actually competition.
Right, okay,
it's like,
so
actually, I think you'll find no spells for
We're going to jump through the tables very quickly, just so you can remind you of what's happening. We've got Andre with his Knights of the Empty Throne against Dimitri with his Domhain Idnet Deepkin, and you can see the Domhain Idnet Deepkin deployed at the bottom of the board, and then there we go, thank you very much. But that unit you can see in green is actually the Varangard that have already run across the board. They're Knights of the Empty Throne, so they can run and charge, and they're going to be looking to charge right... okay, and this is already the bottom of turn 1. Wow, okay, so we've missed a very quick turn from Dimitri with his Domhain. So Idnet Deepkin teleported a Galician champion on the far left-hand side there. I imagine it was a Thrallmaster. They have this artifact called a Tunnel Master, and special ability called Tunnel Master, so you can teleport. That achieves him a battle tactic, which is called Cunning Maneuver.
But he looks like he's not long for this world because
it's a pretty cunning maneuver. Would you really have expected someone to have dug a hole from there to there in the space of one battle?
It's a Tidecaster, so it's a spellcaster, and I wouldn't have expected it. It is very cunning, but it's about to be very, very dead because there's a unit of 3 Varangard here who have just come over to say, hey, mate, what you doing?
You could say, Dan, for him, the tides have turned. so in the...
And he's going to be Varan on guard. That was terrible.
And we also have a spawn over here. So that's table 1. We're already in the bottom of turn 1. So bottom of turn 1, very aggressive table. On table 2, we've got Helon, Dimitros. Looks like he has taken the first turn, and he is moving up into that Daughters of Khaine castle at the back. As you can see, they are backboarded. So they're very far away. They're archers versus archers. So they're trying to be as far away as possible. The units at the back, Calibron, they can do a teleport, and then also Marathi can go in. So what they're trying to do is avoid Marathi from hitting all the juicy sentinels. That's what they're doing, while also protecting their bow snakes at the back of the board. That's their mission. That's the win condition for them. Table 3, you've still got the deployment happening, but you've got Lucas with his Jaws of Mork putting down all these...
Look at this huge block of
They also look phenomenal as well. I think John's there already on the shot.
No,
that's a BC Chaos. BC Chaos, by the way, are will do what we call a null deploy.
Yeah.
So they won't put their models on the board, right? Because they ambush from the sides. Whereas the difference for them, and I know the Beast of Chaos army has got 2 different monsters, and there's something really important about that, because it's not vital like it used to be, but it's still very important.
Yeah.
The Loon Shrine here, if any of these units die, so a unit of 15-point Grot Bounders or anything like that, then what happens is half of that unit can be returned from a Loon Shrine. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
So from the Loon Shrine, great bases.
Yeah.
And so those monsters coming in from ambush can destroy those. And we saw that in that incredible first turn play yesterday by Corey in the very first game that we streamed.
Absolutely.
So there's some really important things. So like just some big stuff.
Yeah, huge. Absolutely huge. And it'll be a really interesting game because obviously the issue here is that these Jaws of Mork, they have the pace. They can get all the way across this board very quickly and potentially make it incredibly hard for the Beast of Chaos to come up where they want to be.
Yeah, so this is going to be a super interesting match. We're going to come back to that because I'm very looking forward to that. I love Beast of Chaos. They're literally perfect. I'm a convert, Charlie. So table 4, this is our Khorne game. Now they're finally deployed. We can start to see what that looks like.
Yep.
We've got those Iron Jaws deployed at the back right-hand side. We've got the Stonehorn here. Stonehorn's got a very big threat range, can threaten a lot of the board. Don't forget, this is a battle plan where you can start really far, really close. And it looks like he has decided to threaten his opponent's territory. It looks like he's decided to threaten his opponent's territory and not really defend his own, as you can see here. But I think that's a bit of a trick.
Yeah.
Because what he's done is he's given himself over on the left-hand side, the top left, he's given that objective free where that Stonehorn can run over and beat him up, which I think that's his game plan. Really. Let these Khorne forces move forward and then countercharge with the Stonehorn, pretending he's threatening with the Stonehorn.
He absolutely, he gave it away to draw Khorne in. He's going to want to be able to commit a lot of those Iron Blasters to do the damage. And importantly, when we see Scarbrand here, he's absolutely going to want to kill him in a turn. You don't want to hurt Scarbrand and not take him off the board.
So okay. So, Khorne doesn't do magic, he does prayers.
Yeah.
And like they have to pray to a god. And many people, as you may know, if they've been to a lot of churches or anything, they tend to use a lot of candles.
Now, Games Workshop recently released an absurd collection of Warhammer-themed scented candles.
And so Stillanos has lit his Khorne candle to help bless his prayers and make them more effective. It's what we're seeing. I don't know. Wait, John, where's John? Why isn't John? Oh, he's busy, I think. Yeah. I really want to see this candle. Anyway,
we'll see the candle. It's got a long burn time, Rob. It does. Yeah, it's a solid 60-hour candle.
I just want to find out where the Bloodthirsty here at the back, and then I assume Scarbrand is just in this back. Scarbrand is just down here. So Scarbrand's just down here, the Bloodthirster is here. So this is going to be quite important to try and keep these
screened.
To keep these cannons away from them if they can. So currently what we're looking at, the big hitters, these 3 cannons hitting at those big monsters, as you can see there, and then you've got this Stonehorn hitting in against the Khorne force. So hold on, John, if we could just sort out the gamma on that, so it's not as bright white, that would be so awesome. There we go. So there you can see. Where's our candle? The candle smells. Oh my god! The candle smells angry. Is what we just heard.
Yeah. There it is. There it is. He's blown it out. He's not doing prayers anymore, so he's blown out the candle.
Yeah. He's finished.
He doesn't need it. He'll probably light it again in the hero phase.
Yeah.
Bless him. Start a small fire in a hotel. That's a great idea.
Perfect.
Yeah. We're all very flammable. Look at everyone here is wearing polyester team shirts. They'll go up like an absolute bonfire.
Exactly.
Yeah. Big risk.
Okay. So I'm trying to rifle through these, but as you can see, Khorne is taking the first turn. And we're getting an aggressive mid-board. Over on table 5, we have these 4 objectives. As you can see, don't forget these 2 in no man's land. If you get a Galician champion on them, you can do 2 battle tactics. We've still got Slaanesh deploying in the bottom left-hand corner, and then we've got a Gitz deploying in the top right, so that's fine. And we're good with that. And then we're already into the first turn, it looks like, for our Kruleboyz force over on table number 6. And they, again, don't forget those objectives. They're trying to get those.
Now, Rob, we've seen on table 6, he's picked up the objective, so he's doing cunning maneuver and gaining momentum. Big turn, big money move.
Don't you have to start on the objective to do that? I thought you had to start on the. You have to start.
Well, here's the thing, Rob. I think the Kruleboyz, if they've got certain abilities in their army, they can place units on. They can redeploy units before the battle begins.
I was going to get the tSports to check, just so I can make that sure that's absolutely correct.
Get him to check
I'm pretty certain you can do a sneaky tactic to get a unit on there, but I just want to triple check that you can do that, because you have to start on it, and if you do any pre-game moves, then you count as having started on an objective.
He used super sneaky, which is a warlord trait, and I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that goes off before you choose who has the first battle round, meaning that when it starts, the units pick up the objectives at the end of deployment before the first battle round is chosen, meaning they control it, meaning he can do it.
Amazing. So then that means he's got So then Kruleboyz. He tried cunning maneuver.
And gaining momentum.
So he should score 7 if he's going to.
Now, Rob, let's talk about dirty tricks, because he's gotten to take 2 units off the board and -1 to wound and turn run against his opponent, which is going to be really big.
So if we talk about how that works, Kruleboyz have got the ability to do dirty tricks, which effectively they get to either do some, as we've seen, move units off the board from your enemy. So one of the few armies that can do it. It does sound like a very powerful mechanic, until you know that they have like a bottomed out win rate that's terrible, and then you think, okay, and it's such a shame. I am absolutely such a Kruleboyz stan. I think that they look beautiful, like great story, wicked. Okay, but they unfortunately. They're not that great. But we have seen this movement, and we have seen some units taken off the board. Yeah, that's what we've seen so far. But Archaon is still on the board in threat range. We still have this unit of Splintered Fang Warriors. This other unit, Splintered Fang Warriors, so some big melee. And if you look at the board presence, it's actually quite nice to get a Kruleboyz game on stream, so you can actually understand just how low their board presence is as well. If you think about it, like there's not a lot of wounds there.
So it looks like we've got a couple of screens of the Kruleboyz here, and here. We've got the shooters hiding back here in the backfield. That's really the only damage output in this list. They're going to be relying on to do the work.
Yeah, so to jump back to table 7, so we're going through those. Sorry, Kruleboyz obviously moving forward. I don't think they've done any shooting yet, but I'd like to get an update, because they're obviously going to want to focus Archaon down as quick as possible.
Yeah.
That's going to be the thing. Or they may go for the Chaos Sorcerer Lord in addition. Table 7, we've seen Teclis move out, as we've talked about, and we've seen the rest of the army move in. We haven't seen any shooting yet, but we are going to. A unit of Hurricane Wind Chargers, Dan, already moved up here.
Look at that screen they've pulled out in front.
Yeah, this is great shot, Scribs. Now, this is actually what I would. So I describe this as what aggressive blocking. Yeah. So pinning is also another good term, but pinning normally is when you get in base-to-base contact with an enemy model. Blocking is quite different, because as you can see, there's a piece of terrain here you're not going to be able to go past, and then these form basically a meat wall.
A wonderful wall,
a meat wall. So you have to charge them and you have to fight them before you can get past them.
And the other thing that's doing is locking Kairos back here behind his own screen, meaning he's not going to get board presence, he's not going to project power until at least turn 2, maybe even turn 3.
Anyone who wants to update on the current rounds, and I'm just going to quickly update this so everyone can see. This is the round as it looks like for the event. Greece, Czech Republic, Austria playing Serbia, Ireland playing Norway, Finland playing Netherlands, Germany playing Wales, Scotland versus Canada, Italy versus Northern Ireland, Belgium versus Switzerland, Australia versus Sweden, which would be a great match, France versus Poland, which would be a great match, England versus Spain, which would be a great match, and then Denmark versus USA, which is a great match. So there's some really great matches happening, but don't forget, we won't get any of the updates from those games until
the very
end. What happens is all the teams collect all of their scores, and then they submit them as one. So we don't get individual results, so there's no point. So we can't help you with anything, because no one knows until the very end.
Wow, great shot there, Scrivo. Look at that intimidating, looming presence of Teclis right here. Really, really strong, really aggressive. And I'm guessing he's only confident being there because of that big blocking screen. It's the only reason that he's probably come out that far. And my guess is that we're going to see all these Sentinels and Wardens come here to rebuild the techless castle in the front lines where they can shut down Tzeentch.
To be honest, like I think it's a very okay play to be a bit aggro, because the Tzeentch force, and I think Zednek has absolutely called this. The Tzeentch force doesn't really have any output. Like, it's my biggest fear whenever I play my Tzeentch, is that someone realizes that they can just stand here, and
and you can't do anything about it.
I can do a bunch of mortal wounds, but if it's more than, like, if you're asking me to do more than 20 mortal wounds to get you out the way, I'm screwed. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so it's a big play, and it's a really, really good counter here in this list. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
So we're jumping to table 8 because the Daughters of Khaine have already finished their first turn. Now, it doesn't look like they've done any shooting into Kairos or any of those big characters, and instead it just looks like what they've done is they've moved over with Morathi. Now, Morathi is quite a unique piece because Morathi doesn't die until she's done a certain amount of wounds, and she can only take so many wounds per turn. So she's a goddess who's very, very unkillable. And so what we'll see is a big charge from her trying to push into that army. Okay, so Kairos has currently taken 2 wounds. So that is going to have to be Thomas's main play.
Yeah.
Thomas has to be like, I need to keep Kairos out of range of all of these archers. That's going to be my major issue. I need to make sure that they're safe, and that's going to be a worry.
And remember, the other thing Daughters of Khaine are going to be trying to do is find and take out that Ogroid Thaumaturge, because it's the only Arcanite that can summon Lords of Change in this Guild of Summoners list. If he goes down, they're really tapped out, and there'll be no more big birds coming onto the board for the Tzeentch force.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, I forget. The Gaunt Summoner can do it as well.
No, I think the Gaunt Summoner might be a demon, but it has all access to all the spells from the mortals.
But then, does he count as an Arcanite to summon birds? That's what matters.
I'm going to say yes. Tzeentch aren't killing Texas in combat, so Texas being in the open doesn't matter much. Exactly. Gitli's absolutely right. I quite like this play. It's quite fun. It's quite aggressive. But what Tzeentch are doing here is applying mortal wounds in this matchup here to because this Burning Sigil of Tzeentch, which is an endless spell, ticks in each movement phase. So Morathi could just keep taking damage.
Absolutely.
Right, we're going to jump back to table 1 because we have a very exciting match here, Andre. And we saw this a very aggressive yikes.
Wow. Okay, so can we recap just to make sure we know where we are? We saw the Idoneth start with a very light force here across the back, and a Tidecaster doing a Tunnel Master over onto this objective to get the bonus points. However, the Varangard came through like a breeze block of pain. We've seen a unit, they deployed quite conservatively in this back area. We've had a unit of 3 come over here and unsurprisingly detonate this Tidecaster, rip its head off, and take the objective back. We've had an emotional support spawn move over here onto the other side of the field. We've had a big block of 6 with Be'lakor really dominating that central board space. And look what we have down here. Oh, yeah, Scrivo's got the shot for us there. Look at that. Down in this bottom pocket, we have a unit of 6 Varangard who are deep into that Idoneth deployment zone. Meaning...
Oh, no, we just took off the Tidecaster.
Everything is... it looks like he's really, really cleaning house, these Varangard across the board.
This could be like a turn 1 win.
This is really rough.
Andre.
They're in a rough place. They've clearly gone into the backboard trying to avoid it, but just didn't reckon with the absolute pace of these Knights of the Empty Throne Varangard.
Yeah, okay, so Lotan has just gone up. We lost a Tidecaster in the left-hand side. Lotan's actually really good, actually.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a great aura, +1 to wound aura, which is very good. And then, big... Oh, look at that. And then we've got all those thralls. All the Reavers just taken off there as well.
Huge amount.
So that leaves a unit of thralls in this back left. Oh, no. Here we go.
Wow. Look at how much is off the board.
Turn 1.
That's a rough T1. Really, really rough.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
No, wait. There has to be something under the sea. There has to be some stuff under the sea. There isn't enough stuff on the board that they lost it.
But Andre is going to be very happy with that turn. That was a big turn. And look at the board presence we have here. We've got Varangard here. We've got Varangard here. We've got Varangard here. And Be'lakor. Now, has Be'lakor used his Dark Master ability? That's going to be really interesting. Can he turn something off?
Well, there's nothing really valuable
left to turn off.
There's nothing super valuable on the board. What he's going to want to do, there has to be. Sorry, I think I just heard an update that there was something off the board, and I want to just get that update because there's definitely not. So. Okay, perfect. Is there anything off the board in that matchup? Because there should be. There should be some stuff in the sea. So I just want to get the up. Okay, so they are in the Aether Sea. So Aether Deepkin, if you're not sure, are sea elves, but they actually don't live on top of the sea. They live under the sea. They're literally a not L'Ariel, Little Mermaid. That's
Little Mermaid, yep.
The Little Mermaid, and they live under the sea. And they have the ability to then kind of like deep strike, if that makes sense. They have like a sea at the side, and then they pop out of the sea, and then they attack. And so inside that sea is an Achillean king, and there is a unit of archers. And while that's not an incredible amount of resources in the back, and losing, I think we saw 20 Thralls and 10 Reavers and 2 characters in the first turn, it's pretty much a hammer blow that I don't think can come back from. It's not all over.
No, there's still some points to play for Dimitri.
Yeah, I don't think it's all part of the plan, but
it's not. It's a very Gitli, very optimistic to suggest it's all part of the plan. For me, it's part of the plan to see elves die, and that fills me with joy. But at the moment, the Varangard dominating this board state.
So we're jumping over to table 2, and we have seen how our Helon castle belonging. So we do have Helon versus Lumineth. So we do have Lumineth Realm Lords versus Daughters of Khaine twice, which is pretty fun to watch them across different battle plans. And as you can see here, the Techless Castle has built itself up, and now the Daughters of Khaine are taking their turn. Do we see any damage done via the archers at the back of the board, please? Marathi has taken 3 wounds, and I don't think we lost any of our archers.
Bow snakes, wow. Okay, so we really haven't seen much movement from this castle. It's locked up around the shrine and around Techless, and very traditionally, we see a couple of little screens here. Now, look how tight those screens are to this main force. The screens are here and here, meaning that they're not really worried about being engaged from too far out. However, we are hearing that there has been a death among the bow snakes. However, the elves didn't cause it. It died to damned terrain.
So not only did bow snakes build get better with the launch of the last Idoneth Deepkin book, they got a command tray that allowed them to get a 4-up rally, which means you can bring back dead models on a 4+. Zealous Orator. So we probably will see that on. There is most likely a Meliusite Iron Scale somewhere on the board. Marathi is really interesting because it's not only this goddess character you can see here, it's also her other part. The Iron Scale is currently off the board. Is the Iron Scale dead? Because having shot the Iron Scale would be
massive.
Iron Scale is currently off the board.
Yes, it looks like we've got the Iron Scale, and the 2 units of Canary are currently chilling out on the side of the board, waiting to deploy. Thank you for that shot, Scrivo.
Okay, so interesting. So what's happening, and Dan pointed out, is what they want to do is full send Marathi, who's already taken 3 wounds, into this castle at the back. And what you want to do is you want to remove the output. And the reason for that is because then you have the bow snakes who in the next turn or the next 2 turns is going to be able to also deliver this output as well. The problem is going to be the priority roll. So we've already seen Lumineth have their first turn. Now we're into the Daughters of Khaine turn. So you got to make the choice. Am I going to try and send Marathi in, whittle stuff down, then bring the bow snakes into the play? Or am I going to put the bow snakes 24 inches away, and then when Marathi activates in the next turn, I can make them shoot in the hero phase and shooting phase. If they don't get the priority roll, though, that unit shoots back, and it becomes a real tough match.
Absolutely. Now, let's remember, for those who somehow have been living under a rock and aren't aware, however, I can't blame you because this is an absolutely shocker of a rule. Marathi here and her little mini counterpart, wherever she is on the board, I think she's over here somewhere, can only take maximum 3 wounds a turn, meaning that it's going to take it. You've got to be putting those 3 wounds on to take her off. However, Michael can just know when she won't die. So if she goes into this big block of sentinels here, gets within 3 and ties them up, she can't be taken off the board for at least another turn and a half, which is a big move, and it's going to really lock up the shooting.
Okay, we'll see what this shooting phase does. But then, and we're now into the bottom. We're going over to table 3, where we have seen the Beasts of Chaos with their Gav spawn and against the jaws of Mork, Gloomspite Gitz. And we have already seen Beasts of Chaos take their first turn. Beasts of Chaos are an ambushing army, so they're not deployed, And then, as you can see, they've brought some units. So these are some Morgite Chaos spawn to grab some objectives across the board there. And then, with their Ritual of Ruin, their hero phase action. They can basically do stuff from off the board.
Yep.
They were able to do some mortal wounds and kill a fungoid
We
cave
have
shaman.
seen those mortal wounds. We saw them take out an Aether Chemist with a spell in a bottle, key piece in one of our early games. We've seen them take out War Chanters, 2 of them, turn after turn, last round on the Friday. And now we've seen them take off the fungoid cave shaman. These beasts are just throwing fire from the edge of the board and removing key pieces from their opponent's army.
I mean, I did the review. I was like, I can't believe you gave an army the ability to just do D6 mortal wounds off the board. It's bonkers.
Insane. A 1 in 3 chance.
Oh, okay, so we have seen the Gitz finish their turn. So they push their Squig Herd out here. I think one of the units is Hoppers. The unit on the right-hand side is a unit of max Hoppers. And we are now going to priority roll for turn 2.
Ooh,
this is
big
pretty big.
roll,
Will we ever see on stream, Dan? Will we ever see on stream the Beast of Chaos not ever lose his turn 2 priority and get given the turn? We've seen it every time.
Rob, devastatingly, I'm pretty sure we saw a 1 rolled for the Beast's priority. So what did the Gitz roll?
The Beast of Chaos are not allowed to win the priority roll into turn 2 at Worlds.
But here's the thing, Rob. The Gitz have won the roll. And they're in a really great position. He's stoked with that one because it means not only does he get to give away the turn, make Beasts of Chaos go first, which they do not want to do. They don't want to have to show their hand and bring the units on the board. But he's also going to be in the driving seat and be able to be on for the double into turn 3, which is going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah, so Beasts of Chaos don't have the turn into turn 2.
They don't.
So they're going to have to do the full send. But while we think it's an advantage for the Beast of Chaos player to be able to go second in turn 2, we have not seen that never work out for the Beast of Chaos player.
Yeah, exactly. In every stream we do, somehow Beasts of Chaos always get given turn 2, and they absolutely play a blinder out of it.
It's amazing.
Apparently, it looks like being down on the ropes makes them better.
Yeah, very good. So it's going to be quite interesting because he doesn't have what we would call like a full send army, and Lucas has done a very good job of screening. When you do deep strike, you normally have to end up 9 inches away from these units. So this creates kind of a zone around, as you can see here, from where you can deploy. And when you do deploy, you're going to hit you're just going to hit a meat shield. A meat shield of stuff. There you go. All those 9-inch sticks out. They're pretty common. Thanks, John. Just to hold it for a moment. Just hold still. That'd be great. You can see some point drop bounders eyeing up a Chaos Spawn. Now, I know Steve the Spawn did really well the other day, but this guy is
not. It was Sean the Spawn.
Sorry,
Sean the Spawn.
This is Steve then.
This is Steve.
His
brother Steve.
Not quite as survivable Steve.
Yeah.
And he's in a tough spot. I am not going to lie.
Not long for this world. Given that we saw 5 Boeing Drop Bounders clear off an entire unit of Fire Slayers last game, I don't think they're going to struggle with 1 spawn.
Lovely looking Gitz army as well there, played
gorgeous.
by Lucas. Really fun. And don't forget, Lucas also went 5-0 at the singles event with his Gitz army. Gitz did get the 1st, 2nd, and 4th place at the event, though.
Amazing.
Shout out to Vlad. If it wasn't for Vlad doing well, it would have been a 1, 2, 3.
It would have been a greenwash.
Yeah, it would have been pretty rough. So love it. So yeah. Okay, so that's what's happening here. Beast of Chaos need to see what they're doing. We'll come back to that when we see what they've done. Nice. We're finally into Lucas's and Dominic's first turn, and you love to see it. So the first turn has been taken by. This is the first turn is taken by our Pretenders army, our Slaanesh force, in the bottom left-hand corner. This is table 5, and then. And Slaanesh, they've taken the first turn, and what they've done is they've created a screen here, and then they've used this unit of Bliss Barb Seekers, right, which are the shooting cavalry, and then they have a unit of combat cavalry, although I am struggling to see where their combat cavalry are. There it is. It is locked in here, right? In fact, behind what we call a triple screen.
Defense in depth.
2, 3. And the reason for that is this block, which I'm just colouring in now, is how the Slaanesh force is going to ramp up in its power. Because what it does is it's got an ability called Euphoric Killers, and it's going to be able to run in, strike at one of these units of, as been described earlier, Depravity Pinatas that are the Squig Herd, and they are going to get loads and loads of damage. But they're also going to get loads of Depravity, which makes their arm. It's basically like a tank.
It's a tier system.
Yeah, effectively. But you get like -1, you get exploding 6s. 6s do mortal wounds, and then you get a 5-up ward for the army. But if you get past that depravity cap, or if you want to, you can use those points also to summon units.
Yeah.
So you kind of got a choice. Do I want all those buffs, or do I want more summons?
It's a really interesting decision. Most of the time we see Slaanesh go for the buffs because they are so much more versatile in the army. But then late game summoning on this one, especially, we're putting Galician champions on these objectives allow you to go for 2 battle tactics around. Could see some runaway late game scoring.
Yeah. Now the Gitz, on the other hand, have got an incredibly mobile force.
Yeah.
Both the Squig Herd, which is these brightly coloured guys that you can see here. Thanks, John. Look at that's lovely little screening there. So those.
Wow.
So the contorted epitome you can see here is. So John, just hold on that shot. Thanks. Contorted epitome is just brilliant. So that's the kind of like buff piece for the army, as well as the general. It's going to do loads of work, +1 to wound for all of your units. Then you got the Blitzbarb archers here, and it looks like at the back there, and they're going to be shooting over here. And then Slick Blade Seekers are going to be going over there as well. So really, really impressive kind of screening. And then Be'lakor is going north and then holding that objective. And I assume if we can find out from table 5, Be'lakor choose to shut down an enemy unit in their hero phase. They go, okay, you started your turn, that unit. So I wonder if any of those units have been Be'lakor'd. I assume maybe not. He might wait until they charge, get the turn, hit. I think doing it early is a mistake because he already knows he's going to hit him. So I think he's going to wait until he gets more into the mid game.
But he might need it might be a mistake because look at what we have here. Thank you for this shot, Scrivo. Just hold it right there. We've got a big Squig Herd that is not very far from Be'lakor. And Be'lakor might be a big old beast, but I don't think it could handle it. It's the start of the hero phase. Because we are only at the start of the hero phase, not in the hero phase, Be'lakor hasn't had to decide yet because the Jaws of
you have to do it at the start.
It is, but it's the Jaws of Mork player has to do theirs first because it's his turn. Okay. So his start of the hero phase.
He's doing his start of the hero phase. This move happens in the hero phase, not.
Start of the hero phase Squig movement.
It happens at the start. Okay, Squig Boss does it at the start, does he? It's actually quite important for viewers at home who are like, why do you keep saying the start several times, lads? It's just because the hero phase is broken up into several phases, not defined by Games Workshop, thanks, lads. There's start, there's middle, and there's end, although, again, no one's ever defined what they are, really. So it happens before. So maybe not Be'lakor anything yet.
But I have a feeling if he doesn't Be'lakor this unit, he's not going to be around long enough to do it.
Which is actually quite a smart play by Lucas. Lucas is then being like, hey, by the way,
you have to use it on this unit. He's forcing it and he knows where it's going to go.
Yeah, that's quite fun. I quite like that. Right, over onto table 6. This is our
Slaves to Darkness versus Kruleboyz, and it's
so Archeon is charged across the board, is fighting against some Gut Rippers and and
a Slogoth here as well.
No, you mean Scubdrek?
The Swamp Boss Scumdrek.
Yes, I do mean that, yes. So this is a Snatcher Boss, on Sluddraker Beast, is what you're actually looking at.
That's right, sorry for getting the terminology mildly wrong.
No problem,
no problem.
It's just a Slogoth is much different as a creature.
For the one person who knows the difference in these models.
I do, I love these models. Right, but what we've seen is Archeon charge in, and he's battling, and he's already done 11 wounds to, I don't think that's Scumdrek, I think Scumdrek's in the middle. That is a Sluddraker on Snatcher Beast, which is actually a pretty good melee combatant. It's kind of a reverse stone. No, it's a Stonehorn without the survivability. Is really what it is. So it's
poison can be dealing out a little bit of damage.
Loads of damage. It's actually got a special rule on it, so it can do some damage. So into Archeon is quite interesting. But as you can see, we've already had a unit of Gut Rippers charged here, and they've been charged by our unit of
Splintered Fang,
which are a great damage.
I mean, it was a big sign that when the new rules for Slaves to Darkness came out, Splintered Fang, which had barely been bought, pretty much disappeared off of shelves worldwide. Overnight.
side. I
Couldn't get him.
I own 11,000 units. But we do, and we have another unit of Splinter Fang that have charged into the middle, which I think is into another unit of Gut Rippers. And then we have our Snatcher Boss and Sludge Beast, which has also been hit. Yeah, thank you, John. I just want to see. Yeah, it is our Gut Rippers.
Yeah.
So they're kind of big power pieces that you can see still safe at the back. This unit of Bolt Boys, that unit of 6 Bolt Boys on the left-hand side, both of those two can project a lot of power. And what he's going to want to do, and this is definitely a big old trap, although there's nothing the Slave Snartness army is going to do apart from charge, is this, and this is going to charge. He's going to shoot into Archeon. So
but Rob, you're saying they're going to shoot into Archeon. Look what we have here. Incoming where he's tagged this unit of archers in combat.
I mean, they can still shoot him in combat.
But has he used all of his attacks? Has he?
He has.
He has.
He must have. Let's find out. He will. Wait, because there's Gut Rippers in front of him. Yeah, he has. Yeah, so he's done all of it into the Sludge Raker. And the reason he's done that is the Sludge Raker has. So that's this beast here. This is a Sludge Raker, by the way. Great model. Has got. I love Kruleboyz so much. He's got like an aura, and so when you do mortal wounds on a 6, instead of it being it adds +1 to those mortal wounds. So each one of those Bolt Boys is going to be doing 3 mortal wounds.
And then if you give them if you've got a Marsh Crawler Shaman, a Swamp Crawler Shaman, gosh, everything's so similar in this army, to give them the Venom buff, they also get to do mortal wounds on 5s.
So the Sludge Raker has 1 wound left, but yikes, I think we've just seen 9 wounds put onto Archeon.
Yeah.
Wow. He's taken 11
so
damage.
It looks like Archeon may have YOLO'd across and bitten off more than he can chew. Rob, what do you have to say about Archeon possibly going down to Kruleboyz and not getting the nuggets on these combats?
Just that he whiffed his attacks?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
He ended the old world, but he can't end a bunch of Kruleboyz. Kruleboyz, please nerf.
It's actually pretty funny, actually, that he didn't kill Scumdrek. I mean, I probably would have just killed the Bolt Boys.
Same.
Yeah.
Scumdrek is a threat, sure, but he's only a threat because he hands out that buff. But so if you don't really.
He's just taken another wound from the Lead Belchers, and that does mean we're going into Prio. If we have a Prio here, you legitimately might see Archeon fall down. But Pavel is just going to just shoot and charge and attack Archeon and take him out.
Wow.
I guess the problem is though, it's a huge piece. Don't get me wrong, but these Splinter Fang could probably run through the rest of the army.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And it looks like there's a big old engagement down here in the middle of the board as well. We can see here from this shot. Thank you, Scrivo. We've got a big cluster combat, which I don't think, looking at just the number of models there, I don't think that's going to go the Kruleboyz way. However, if Archeon goes down and with Scumdrek just behind it here, it's a big push. It's anybody's game. Kruleboyz could take this out, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. Nerf them. That's what I say. They're already. So the Splinter Fang haven't attacked yet at the top. So I think that they're going to turn this unit of Gut Rippers into dust, which will be a surprise to me. So we'll come back to this game in a minute. The priority role for this game will be super important. So let's please find out when that happens. That'd be really great. Okay, so Thomas with his host Duplicitus in the top left-hand corner. Don't forget he's Zednek with his Helon army already screened out with a unit of wind chargers. They are now dead. He also moved up his...
Rob, it looks like there might be a couple of wind chargers left. Look at that.
Oh, okay.
Look, we've got 1, 2, 3, meaning that he's removed models from the middle, knowing he's breaking coherency, but kept them where they were to lock up that screen.
Yeah, that's super good. Just making it so they can. Oh, there's three of them as well. So yeah, there's 3. Okay, so he's only lost the 2 in the middle. This is pretty common. You can remove units out of coherency, which would be pretty fun. The super smart play is that then this. The Burning Sigil Tzeentch happens at the end of the movement phase. Can do D3 mortal wounds. Yes, they can't. But what he does is when he takes the mortal wounds from that, which will go onto the unit. John, if you just go back up a moment, please. Back to that unit just for a second so I can talk about it. So you'll take the mortal wounds from this at the end of the movement phase. D3 mortal wounds. If he does 2, the smart play is to do it on these. Pop a spawn out to block his own army up. Yeah. But then this will give him the charge. They'll probably just charge anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably a fun thing to do there. But yeah, really nice play.
Yeah.
Blocking that unit up. up. And the reason he wants to block it up is because all these circles you see on the board, that's where you want to try and stand your models to hold on to these objectives.
Now, which of these objectives is the active one? I'm guessing
it's
from this marker
side.
is over here, which is why all of this this is about it, and why Teclis has moved up to tag that objective as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so table 1. We're just going to jump back to this very quickly. This is correct.
We've got Be'lakor and the King. So going in here. So we've got a Fish King on a Unicorn Seahorse versus the Dark Master of the Dark Gods.
Unfortunately, though, he's already swung and struck and has taken Be'lakor down to 1 wound.
No.
Now, what's really good about the... the King hasn't fought.
It was a bunch of the archers that popped up.
The Reavers. So the Reavers have shot Be'lakor down to 1 wound. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now what they've done is they've deep struck, so they've come from off board on the board. This game, if you remind you, it's Knights of the Empty Throne against Domhain. So Einar Deepkin. Einar Deepkin were, weirdly, I know it looks like it's reversed, were deployed at the bottom of the board. Be'lakor has used an ability on this unit of thralls you see here, so they can't charge. But in the first turn, Knights of the Empty Throne sent this unit of Varangard, which is a pretty elite heavy cavalry unit, to run charge. They charged in. They were able to take out like 20 thralls and also Lotan, while also a Tidecaster that was teleported on the left-hand side was also taken out by this unit of Varangard. So you had three major pieces fall immediately. This unit has come back from the back of the board. It's going to take out Be'lakor, but Be'lakor's ability is already gone now. And then you've got a unit of 6 Varangard, and 3 to deal with. And this, problematically, that unit of thralls on the right-hand side, which is the other combat piece that might be able to deal with the Varangard, probably not. They would charge and try to be involved in that fight, but unfortunately for them, it's not to be, I think.
And speaking about unfortunate things, Rob, look over here. Look what's missing. The emotional support spawn.
Yeah.
Steve the Spawn is gone. Now, we're going to jump across to the Scriv cam, because look at that. I believe we're about to see. We saw the Kings charged. We've seen, looks like the Reavers have charged as well, because what he's hoping to do is that if these Reavers, it is high tide, meaning that they're all going to strike first. If the Reavers can put a wound on Be'lakor, take him off the board. Oh, it's not high tide, rather. It's the King's ability, sorry.
The King has the ability to have D3 units, have fight on high tide. And the reason he's done it now is he wants this unit of Reavers to do that 1 wound to Be'lakor, so that because he's charged, he gets a pile in 3 inches, and then he gets
take him out as well.
And try to take out. Now, the Achillean King is actually a real tough matchup into Be'lakor, because Be'lakor, you can't affect his armor save, because his armor is basically magical.
Yeah.
And the Achillean King has got a really great close combat weapon called a pole arm, which is Ren 3. Oh. Yeah, so it's really, really good. So it gets through damage very, very well, but it's worse into Be'lakor.
Unless
and
you've got
Ghosts.
Ethereal magical armor.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Oh wait, the King is hitting the Varangard.
He's hitting the Varangard. He's ignoring Be'lakor.
I think he's got 3 inches on the pole arm weapon.
So he's probably reaching.
So he's reaching, and then he'll do the tail attacks or something onto. Oh yeah, because he wants Be'lakor alive. So for every unit within range of the pole arm, within range of the King, because he's got a command trait that does this, then he gets an extra 2 attacks.
Oh,
so because he's near 2 units, he's going to get an additional 4 attacks. So he's going to be able to do a lot more damage.
Now we've heard so far 9 damage has gone through on the Varangard, which is nothing to sniff at. However, that's only 1 model lifted.
Okay, and now Be'lakor is getting attacked. This will probably be the end of it, so the priority roll is going to be really, really important here.
Huge.
Be'lakor is out.
Be'lakor has been lifted.
Like Bart says in the chat, he wonders in the team composition how many Be'lakors are here. There are 24 teams, don't forget, in 24 teams of 8. I would personally assume that there would be 24 Be'lakors.
There should be 24 Be'lakors. If there's not 24 Be'lakors, your team needs to ask yourself why.
Yeah, and 12 damage done to the Varangard. So they've killed 2.
That's a big 2 of them.
This is the bottom of turn 1. Just for everyone at home.
The thing is, if those Varangard haven't piled in an attack and haven't used their double attack yet, they potentially could come in and do a lot. It was a big trade for Be'lakor, but it could be a big trade back.
Apparently this is the top of 2.
Which means we're about to see a Knight's turn.
Oh, so Deepkin won the roll-off for the top of 2. Okay, pretty interesting. Okay. Oh, yeah, because they did a very, very quick early. That's how they got the Tiecaster, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go back to going through our tables one at a time. This is just a very quick game that we'll keep jumping back into. So just to remind you, table 2, we have our Calibron force. I'd like to know if they shot at anything. We did see Morathi has now charged into the Techless Castle. We have brought over our bow snake, so I did tell you. I did. Oh, table 2 is about to roll priority.
Okay.
It looks like the shooting phase.
We're hearing. Okay, so what we're seeing now is big priority being rolled.
No, it's already. It should have. I think it might have already happened because if we look, so we're on the Daughters of Khaine double turn, and as I said it was the right decision for Michael to bring these bow snakes in. And if you look at the damage already done in the first turn. Look at all of these Sentinels that have gone down. These wind chargers are in, and then this other unit. So if we can find out exactly what phase we're in, because you might have all this shooting right now coming into these wind chargers, which would be pretty good. Yeah, table 2. And then there's another unit, and then... Oh, it's the start of Daughters turn 2. Right. This is game. This is game.
This is huge.
This is absolutely game. If you just play for it, it's just that... It's just a big win. You're going to get the shooting phase out of this, and this should clear. I haven't looked at it, but it should clear that. Then you got. Oh, thank you. Then you got the movement phase. Yeah, that's 24.
And that's it's so many bow snakes.
And then you're just going to see Techless and Morathi have a good old fight. Don't forget, they're friends from the friends is a strong word, but they're acquaintances from the old world.
They probably made out once or twice. That seems about like an elfy thing to do. Not like a good staunch dwarf. I'm just saying, they absolutely dabbled.
I absolutely... Okay, I don't want to get into that.
Look, but look, all I'm saying is she made a race of snake people, he made a race of fish people. You can't tell me that there's not some shared love there.
Yeah.
But we're going to have this big shooting here. They're going to reach out over the top, project that power onto the units that want to get it. We've got Morathi tied up here. Now, the issue is that she's tied up in this front unit. There does look to be a 3-inch gap here, so she's not tagging the shooters. She has only taken 5 wounds, meaning that every turn you don't do the full 3 to her is devastating because it's another turn you can't bring her down.
It's game over now. There's just all the output's gone. You're gonna lose. You've got, what have you got? 15, 30. You got 60 shots doing more. Yeah, you got 60 shots now coming in from the bow snakes over the course of the hero and shooting phase, and then you got Morathi is going to yeet herself in. So even if Morathi goes down, those bow snakes now are just going to they've ramped beyond a level, it's a tipping point in the game. So great game there. Great game by Michael. He's done a really solid job. So that's table 2. Table 3, we did get that priority. Don't forget, we still haven't seen the Beast bring on all of their units. They are playing Gav spawn, so this is where the spawn them all are important. But I think this is going to be a real tough one for Beast of Chaos charging in. Beast of Chaos got given the turn into turn 2, waiting for them to deploy their units on the board. There's going to be some big decisions. I'd run my clock to find out about that. I'd be working that out.
Take your time. We've seen that every game. Beast of Chaos players, on that turn where they're showing up, they take a long turn to make sure their placement is good.
Yeah, so table 4, we didn't get to talk about this much yet, but we'll talk about what happened. We've already had the first turn. So first turn, we saw a hero phase moves from the Khorne force move in using a different movements to be able to pin the ogres in so they couldn't charge and do the mortal wound impact hits, which is actually a big deal. It didn't really matter, though. As you can see, we got these Mornfang on this objective fighting into these Khorne guys. The Stoneholders moved into the mid-board, and while Scarbrand and the Bloodthirster are still on the board, so some big pieces, these Mornfang are taken out here. So now it's just... now it's just the big pieces versus the big pieces.
And look here, we've got these Iron Blasters as well. Iron Blasters screening the magic user, providing some buffs, mostly probably looking for the +1 to wound buff. And the thing is, because of the placement of these 3 shooters and the incredible range of their high damage Rend 3 shooting, it's really pinning these Bloodthirsters, Scarbrand and the Bloodthirster, deep into the backboard, so far from the combat, because they're afraid to commit. They know that if they get charged by one of these Stonehorns, it's all over Red Rover. So that's why they're right back.
And also, so the shooting is also pretty devastating as well up here. We did see that Karnak did a hero phase move from the mid-board, another move. Sorry, the Claws of Karanak, and then was able to pin all of the ogre units in. But of course, they were able to clear themselves out of that. They have a lot of movement, but like you could absolutely see a justifiable thing where you take some heavily armored units, even the other Khorne heavy cavalry, their name is something, but either way, and then Skull Crushers, thank you, because they've got 2-up armor save, and just do all those hero phase moves just so you can pin in. Because they got the armor save. But the Ogre match is one that you're not always expecting to get.
Absolutely.
But you can do that. Literally just. But now we're into Ogre's turn 2.
And the scores are tight. The scores are very tight.
The scores are tight. They both had a turn 5-7 to Khorne, but Khorne should. In this turn, not that obviously I want that to happen, but Khorne should lose a lot of resources here.
They will, yeah.
I think that's going to be the key feature. They still have those 6 Varangard though. That's a big punch. So they've got 2 big hammers. They've got Scarbrand and they've got these 6 Varangard. So. Yeah, still a lot of work needs to be done by the Ogre army.
But the Ogre army hasn't committed much. We've got this unit of Mournfang, 4 Mournfang here. We've got the units still in reserve. We've got the Frostlord on the back there, and we still have all the shooting in play. It's going to be tough. And the thing is, let's look at the board at the moment. Remember, Ogre monsters count as 10 models on objectives. So this is 10 right here. We've got, I believe, 10. So the Mournfang are going to count as 2 apiece. And then all of these Iron Blasters, unless I am mistaken, also do count as monsters. No, maybe they don't. But
I love this board, by the way.
Yeah.
Great board.
But they're going to be tough to shift, really tough to shift, and very easy to pick points up with a Frostlord on Stonehorn. It doesn't need to do too much damage to have the model count on an objective to pick it up.
We're going to move on to the next table. Good luck to both those 2 players. You can see the squigs. By the way, so we did mention this in the first turn. First turn for Slaanesh, what they've done, we're in the bottom of turn 1. Slaanesh force against Gloomspite Gitz. What happened is they moved up and they just screened, as we can see here, with a variety of different units, trying to protect, I think, these Slickblade Seekers and also their Blissbarb Archers. Over on the right-hand side, very cleverly, Lucas was able to use his start of the hero phase movement and then move a unit of Squig Herd threatening Be'lakor at the bottom of the board. This meant that Be'lakor then had to use their Dark Mastery ability, which shuts down a unit, to try to protect himself from the charge. But then Lucas said, don't worry about it, I got more Squigs where that came from, bro. And then there was another unit of Squigs and they've charged into Be'lakor. Now don't forget, this is still the bottom of turn 1. We're probably going to see Be'lakor go down. I don't know, and this is a Squigs currently attacking, as you can see from the 1 bajillion dice it's required.
Yeah, especially in Jaws of Mork, you need big hands and many dice.
Yes, never tiny dice though, don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird. It's not about that. But, they're going to be attacking, and I assume Bellacor's going to die here. It's so many attacks. You can get up to 5 attacks per
Squig.
Per Squig, which is pretty devastating. And so you can get a lot. And you can see strung out as well. Now, this is going to be really important because Grinkrak will be probably here. Now, Grinkrak, if you start the combat phase within 3 inches of Grinkrak, then he can give you fight on death. That means every model that's slain gets to fight back when it dies. That's what fight on death means. It's pretty simple.
You can fight twice. It means you charge in there, you get a round of attacks, your opponent kills a number of your models, and then you know what you do?
Fight again.
You fight again.
Fight again, baby.
Just have another turn. Why? Because you kill me, I get another turn.
Yeah.
And then, Rob, here's the next thing. You have a number of things called Squig Handlers. And what those Squig Handlers are going to do is they're going to return slain models to the unit in the Gitz player's next turn. So you're trading models for death, they fight on death, and then you bring models back. It's almost like Squigs are a very oppressive, very strong army at the moment.
Absolutely not. 2 months left. Absolutely not. No way. But yeah, pretty fun. I absolutely love this play. It's really fun because we have the priority roll coming up. Why is that important? Because on the priority roll, all of the Gitz are going to go into the meat of the Slaanesh army and start to push back. If you can see, though, the board's rotated. This happens a lot in games because normally there's only a couple of heavy resources you can put into places. So this is what I would describe as lightly defended at the top left-hand corner. But we've brought all of the power here, and then on the turn, it's going to move in. However, on the other priority roll for Slaanesh, move over, and then they push in as well. So I really like board states in Age of Sigmar. They're very dynamic. The priority roll really defines how that's going to move. And as you can see, those screens which were valid in turn 1 are still valid in turn 2.
Absolutely.
Even against a double turn. So it's all about resource management and board position, and that's why it's such a good game system.
And Gitz, we can have a look here. Scrivo's got a great shot. We can just see in the backfield.
Great shot.
Look at this. See, as we were talking, we've got these big defense in depth layered screens for Slaanesh, but over here, lightly defended. However, in return, the Gitz only have some light defense here, and this screen is tagged and engaged in that middle combat. It's gonna make it really interesting. Big priority, really big moves. I can't wait to see where it goes. So we should jump across to table 6.
Okay, we will do. Let's just leave this game where it is. We want to know about the priority when it comes up. Be'lakor isn't dead yet. Be'lakor, and also if Be'lakor doesn't die, which is also huge, that means that on the Gitz turn, if they win the priority roll, they'll be locked in combat with Be'lakor. So Be'lakor only took 4 wounds. So actually that puts Slaanesh in a really solid position where what you might do, because if you look, the orange squigs are screening out the other squigs. So if Be'lakor does survive and I was Slaanesh player, give away the turn, I might just be like, do you know what? Have another turn of wasting your time here and here.
Because everything's trapped behind your screen, and this screen is not only tagged with Be'lakor, it's tagged with this middle screen here as well. Really good, really interesting game, especially given we've seen the base of power shift pushing in this area for them, and for the squigs, they've really locked up into this corner. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right.
Perfect. So we're going to jump to table 6. Before we do, though, thanks to Ziggy, I just heard that the game versus USA versus Denmark, which is kind of our current championship match, if you will, is currently very close.
Wow.
That's the only update so far I've got, but I do have one. Thanks to Ziggy. So there you go.
Legend.
Right. So we're going over table 4. We don't table 5. Sorry, 6, and we are back with our game between the Kruleboyz, played by Pavel Sebesta, and then our Ravagers, Slaves to Darkness, played by Marios.
So super quickly, let's catch up where we were, how we've gotten where we are. We had the Kruleboyz deploy in a pretty conservative fashion in the back. Slaves to Darkness came in down here. We had them both push.
That's a question. Keep doing that. Sorry.
We had them both push into the middle. We've got engagements between Splintered Fang and screening units of Gut Rippers along the line. But we had this big move here, and then the charge from Archaon. Now Archaon charged in, took on one of the big monsters and a unit of shooters back here, and in that turn didn't kill either of them. However, what we've seen is there's a big gap right here, so Archaon clearly took the beastie off the board. We have a unit of shooters still in play in the back, but the question is, how many wounds does Archaon have left?
So Archaon's taken 19 wounds,
wow.
But I would love to know who won the priority going into turn 2, because that's going to really define how this game is about to shape up. How this game is shaping up.
Yeah.
We didn't hear that if you did try and update us.
Yeah.
But we're going to find out. So this is the situation. So he knew who was getting the next turn.
Of course he did.
He knew who was at next turn. So he knew he had the double turn. So that's why you've seen a full send, because he knew who had the double turn, and so that's one of Archaon's ability. I did mention that at the top of the show. He knows who's got the chance to go next, so he sent it in. Now Archaon's only got, I think Archaon's only got 6 wounds left, but it does mean he's going to be able to take out. He's already taken out this Sludge Raker. He's going to be able to take out the shooters here. He's going to take out probably. So Archaon's on finest hour, miscast his first spell, so might take D3 more wounds. He does have 25 wounds.
So
now.
he won't die from that.
No, sorry. After that, after the miscast, he's taken 19 wounds.
Now, we do have a bit of spice from the table, Rob. Would you like to hear the spice?
Yeah.
Kruleboyz, obviously, they've got cunning tricks. They can send units off the board, put them back into reserve. Now, those units have to come back on the board, but they were forgotten. Meaning that they are destroyed off the board. However, they did talk to a ref, because obviously there's a little bit of interesting play there. It's not whose responsibility is it in that regard, and so they came to I believe an equal decision where one of those units could be deployed back on the board, but the other one was considered destroyed.
Yeah.
Now that's a big cunning move from the Kruleboyz. Cunning Kruleboyz.
Yeah, congratulations to Kruleboyz there. That's pretty fantastic. But we are going to see a pretty savage turn now. We should lose the Bolt Boys, and we should probably lose this unit here what are they called? Why can't I remember their name? What are the battle line infantry for the...
Gut Rippers.
Gut Rippers, thank you.
Gut Rippers.
The Gut Rippers should go down, and the Gut Rippers that were up here should go down as well.
Yeah.
So that's just going to leave the Kruleboyz with 6 Bolt Boys, which is pretty decent.
Yep.
And a Sludge Raker. So that's definitely going to be able to bring Archeon down and then also throw some attacks into the Splintered Fang. So resource-wise, it's going to be kind of okay on a double for the Kruleboyz. But their board presence is going to be very, very small.
And let's remember, the Slaves to Darkness do still have 6 Varangard put in play that haven't committed to play yet as well. So still got some good tools. They'll be really disappointed.
There's no Varangard in this list.
There isn't?
Oh, no, that's a Khorne game.
That's a Khorne game, sorry, I'm a fool. They're going to be really disappointed. Taking Archeon to almost like 18, 17 wounds at last turn, but just not getting enough to take him off the board. That's really hard. That's really rough.
So Pavel's got to work out what's happening with his game here, but unfortunately this is a super tough game for him. Marios, knowing he had the turn, absolutely great.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so Tom Molders with... Tom Molders with his host Duplicitous and his Tzeentch force in the top left-hand side against Zednek Nemec with his Heal-On Teclis. We've already seen that Teclis doesn't have a spell port on his list, so he isn't able to do Searing White Light in AoE. So that's why we saw the first turn teleport move him over the board. And then we've seen the rest of his army. He's literally screening with Teclis, which we've never seen before. And we have seen a bunch of other units go into Teclis. If we get that shot, you can see at the very back of the board we have. It looks like a unit of. I can't see any closer. Maybe John can get that for me. That's great work, John. So we have a unit of Carrick Acolytes. No, Blue Horrors.
Blue Horrors.
A unit of Blue Horrors, and then that looks to be a spawn that has charged in to Teclis.
Good on him. Bless his cotton socks.
I don't think he's going to be too stressed about either of those.
Yep.
So he's going to be hype about that. But okay. Sweden versus Australia, by the way, is an update. Just spoke to the Swedish captain. Apparently, Sweden's feeling okay about it, but that's it so far. Right, so, at the back, the Ogroid is charged into the Sentinels. That's pretty fun.
Wow, okay,
try and find that.
So, there it is, right there.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's some great stories. He's been informed, so tSports has been informed that the Ogroid that you can see at the back there has defeated 53 Sentinels so far in this tournament.
Now, I will say the Ogroid holds a special place in my heart because unlike most of the fickle, flimsy little spellcasters of a Tzeentch force, he is a beast, and if he takes some damage, he gets even angrier. So we could see him smash up some Sentinels, or at the very least, tie them up and make sure they're not shooting.
So what's really, really good about the Ogroid is, unlike a lot of Galician champions, he's allowed to take Tunnel Master, and that's opened up access for Tzeentch for a brand new kind of play style, because what they can do is they can teleport it, and because they have Destiny dice, which allow you to dictate the dice roll, they can choose to do a 9-inch charge from Deep Strike with the Ogroid, making the Tunnel Master Ogroid a kind of small little missile,
really,
but it's also very reliable. I mean, in fact, it's guaranteed, which is pretty fantastic. So you love to see that. So that's pretty fun. But we are still in Tzeentch's turn 1. This will be a slower game. As they try to, because what you can see here, to quote my friend Tom, he's trying to move and dominate the mid board. That's what he's trying to do. So this is a castle that will progressively move and then try, and then it's using its threat range with all of its spells to hit out. But unfortunately, Teclis Castle's just got a much larger threat range. But he's going to have to be conscious. Look, he's surrounded on the left-hand side here. Teclis is. You still have Teclis having to fight out these units that he's currently engaged with as well. So that's pretty interesting. And then, just even something as simple as that. Even something as simple as the Ogroid is something he's going to have to deal with in close combat, the bottom left-hand corner. So he's got a lot to deal with. Yeah,
it's a lot of questions being asked. We'll see how many answers he's got now.
So in our second Guild of Summoners. Oh no, this is slightly different. This is our Tzeentch army versus played by Thomas Rutt for Czech Republic against Calibron Daughters of Khaine, played by Spiridon for Greece. and we are seeing we're into the second turn here. That's what we are. Now, in the first turn, Dan, we saw the Tzeentch force move into the midboard after Morathi ran forward, but we haven't seen. So we didn't see a lot of shooting from the bow snakes.
No, very conservative. Didn't want to risk the damage
because the bow snakes went first. Sorry, so Morathi moved into the midboard. Bow snakes here. Then Tzeentch ran forward, as you can see here. Probably used an auto charge to run and lock Morathi in, so she can't be fighting anything else. However, it does seem like the bow snakes have got the priority into turn 2.
Oh, that's going to be rough.
So, Bo, this is going to be pretty important.
Now, what was here? A screen of blue, what I believe is blue horrors, maybe pinks. I'm guessing it's blue. What we have is a screen of blue horrors here that were protecting Kairos in the middle of the board, but now becomes a jail cell, a shooting gallery, if you will, allowing them to move forward. Now, they've got two options here, which will be really interesting. They can either shoot Kairos off the board, which I think is probably the stronger play, remove that from the board, or they can shoot and take out these blue horrors, clear out this screen, and allow Morathi to swing in and get the charge. Either way, two really strong options, and Morathi has only taken 5 wounds.
Another time he's taken 5 wounds. Another 5 wounds. Yeah, the sigil really good. So it's still the hero phase for Daughters of Khaine. You're going to come back to some pretty potent output at some point soon. Okay, so very exciting match, but I would say these are this is kind of an interesting army. The Daughters of Khaine armies. Good luck, mate.
Sorry, Rob just blowing on some dice for luck, and he looks happy. He looks happy.
How did I do? Did I do it?
You did it. He did it. Rob's lucky breath. Oh no. Rob just upset Sweden. Jonathan probably coming over here to punch Rob in the face for blowing some luck onto some dice. Get him.
Judas. I've just been called Judas.
Yeah.
I apologise.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm neutral. I'm not Switzerland because they're also here.
Rob will breathe luck onto anyone's dice.
I'm currently representing Malta. So shout out to the Team Malta. I love you loads. That's who I'm representing. So let's go back through the games. Table 1.
Table 1.
We have Andrei Czech playing the Knights of Empty Throne for Czech Republic at the top of the board. And then he's playing against Dimitri with his Domhain Idneth Deepkin from Team Greece.
Now, you could be forgiven for thinking that the Idneth haven't deployed yet, but we are into Idneth turn 3,
Yikes.
and there are not many left on the board. Now, you may notice at both the top and the bottom of the map here a conspicuous lack of Idneth. So super quickly, let's talk about how we got to that. The Idneth deployed down here at the start of the game, mostly between their two halves of their boat here and here, and then they tunnel mastered a spellcaster over to pick up the bonus points on the objective. Now, the Varangard responded in a very aggressive fashion. 3 Varangard charged over here, 6 YOLO'd through the center to engage at the bottom, and a group with Be'lakor sat in the middle, really dominating that mid-board. We also had an emotional support Chaos Spawn move over here onto the objective. In return, the Idneth died. They could have done a lot of different things, but instead they decided, like elves, to be fickle and just lay down and accept the sweet embrace of death.
They just lost it.
That not fill me with joy? Yes, it absolutely did. Kill more elves. However, we did then see the return play. We saw the return play. I'm hearing from the table boss. Excellent recap. Thank you. We did then see a lovely little counterplay.
Recap should become an art that we try.
One lovely little counterplay right there. We saw the Idneth bring in a big unit of archers and a king in kill off the Be'lakor and do a reasonable amount of damage to the Varangard. However, in return, they have all died again like flimsy elves. Look at them all. That's it. Take them off the table. Lift it. Bleed for me, you silly little sea elf.
It's quite interesting, actually, from a mechanics standpoint, because you do wonder why Deepkin do badly. They're quite interesting in that they're very mobile and they have some pretty good combat units. But they also pair that with some of those combat units also bringing pretty prodigious shooting. So they have that double utility in that they're not they're not only a fighting army and not only a shooting army, and they have the toolbox to do either. But unfortunately, in my opinion, you end up in this kind of odd place where they do none of it. They're too elite and they don't have a screen, but the output that they do is too middling to be of effect, and their survivability is very low. The damage is definitely ramped up over the past year, but survivability also is ramped up as well. People don't tend to talk about that as much, but there's some very, very survivable units, especially with recursion and healing. So Deepkin in a really interesting spot. Varangard, just wildly good, and they are it's pretty surprising that something like eels or sharks don't have a once per battle pile and attack twice. Definitely a sign of it being an earlier book. But pretty good.
Let's remember, they did have their time in the sun. There was a very, very long period where eel spam lists absolutely dominated.
Yeah, but the new we're talking since the launch of the new book.
Yeah, of course.
We're talking about the redesign, and it's quite an interesting book to see on the tabletop, and then see it struggle so significantly.
Absolutely,
because that feels like they're different classes. That looked like a no question win.
Yeah, they're playing different games of Warhammer.
Yeah, so we can already tie that up on table 1 for a win to the Czech Republic in this tight match versus Greece. Don't forget, both these two teams have already got a win under their belt at this event, and the table and the ladder for the event is very, very close. A couple of teams have definitely run away with it, but there's some teams right now playing for the big win, and then we'll see how it goes. Right, jumping over to table 2. Oh, okay, that's pretty fun. We will just quickly mention table 6 and then get back to table 2. Archaon has been left on a single wound.
Wow. Now, was that at the bottom of the Slaves to Darkness turn? We're at the middle, we're at the bottom of the first half, the Slaves to Darkness portion of turn 2. So we're about to go into the Kruleboyz turn, and I would expect that we'll see Archaon lifted. However, devastating that they couldn't lift him this turn.
Well, I mean, most of that damage came from an Overwatch from the Bolt Boys that went into the Bolt Boys, and then the Sludge Raker, and it was the Archaon's inability to kill the Sludge Raker. Archaon's inability to kill Sludge Raker that meant that it then took that additional return damage. Board state-wise, it's a pretty fragile unit in these Splintered Fang trying to hold on against 6 Bolt Boys and the Sludge Raker. And on a double, the Sludge Raker could clear 1 and clear 2, and the board could look a lot nicer for the
Kruleboyz.
For the Kruleboyz, it really could.
I believe in them.
But this is also Ravagers. This is also Ravagers army, so it's going to be able to but return a unit up to half strength. So that's kind of fun.
Which will almost certainly be a Splintered Fang unit.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to jump over to table 2, which is the one we were talking about. So we talked about the priority. So the Daughters of Khaine got the double turn.
Oh yeah.
As we can see here. And just to check that unit at the top is the Bow Snakes, but I'm almost certain it is that unit of Bow Snakes. Are at the top, so just look at what's left of this Lumineth force at the bottom. We have Teclis, we have a couple of Sentinels, but of course they're going to try and rally, and then you've got
another couple of Sentinels over here by the looks of things.
And then you've got Morathi, and it's all about these board edges that are also really important as well. You've got the Canary that have arrived down for Daughters of Khaine on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, it's our unit of Shadow Stalkers. They can teleport themselves. So these arrive via Deep Strike, these arrived via a teleport, so they own 3 of the objectives. The Lumineth army's got no ability to push out. It's all over. It's all over.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've really pinned him in here. The Daughters have done the work. They actually didn't really bust open the Lumineth Castle. They forced the Lumineth Castle to open its doors and let them in. They said, "Hey, knock, knock, knock. Can we come in?" And for some reason, the Lumineth said, "Yep." Sweet.
They dropped
tea and biscuits.
They dropped it, and don't forget how this started was those Daughters of Khaine, those Bow Snakes were backboarded here with Morathi here. So it's been an aggressive play, but that's what Morathi does. Morathi forces the opponent to have to just respect that and watch out for it. And while you're dealing with Morathi, all of these are shooting at you, and it's whether or not you get to that tipping point.
Now, if our objective, if our scoring is correct on this board, it is a massive runaway at the moment. So we will confirm from the board whether Table 2 is correct on the overlay. But at the moment, it looks like we're on track for a full cap, as we say.
No, Helon is about to have their turn.
Oh, Helon's about to have their turn. Yeah, but they did have a 1-point turn 1. That's not a great place for them to be.
No. And... yeah, they're not in a good spot. This is probably they're going to need the priority into the next turn just to bust out some moves.
Yeah.
But even then, as you can see, we've seen like a teleport over onto this hand side.
Yeah.
I'm amazed we didn't see a rally. I didn't attempted, which has kind of surprised me. He's going to have to do things like Searing White Light, although that does look like the sigil is nearby. So that does mean, the rune of petrification. I apologize. So that should start chipping away some damage, which is fun. But I'm surprised we didn't see a rally into these Sentinels. But there you go. Maybe he's trying to do something else. He's probably going to have to. He can't leave his home objective because Morathi counts as 5.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'd say send it, go grab this objective, and then on the follow-up turn, I guess yeet over here.
Yeah.
And come in.
I think there's maybe some points to play for, but I don't think it's to play for the game. I reckon we can chalk up another, potentially. It's still early doors to suggest it, but I think this one's leaning towards the Czechs as well. So I reckon we've got two tables that are going to come.
So he did attempt the rally. He did attempt the rally on the side and on the right-hand side, and then he got one Sentinel back out of 30. Which is pretty funny. Right, okay, so that's Table 2. Table 3, this is our Beasts of Chaos game. So this is where all of our big monsters landed. We finally got to see what Jan, with his Beasts of Chaos army, was able to do. Don't forget, and crucially, he was given the second turn. So first turn for Beasts of Chaos, they sniped out a Fungoid Cave Shaman, grabbed an objective, and then didn't move. And then the Squigs just built a little Squig castle with all the Squiggies.
Little squiggy
castle. And then, boom, we had to wait for the priority roll for 2. That meant that the Squigs and Lucas, representing Team Greece, won it. Yeah. Gave the turn away, so then Jan had to commit in places he didn't want to, and as you can see, he's committed down into this bottom right-hand corner. Yep. He's committed up here. But he hasn't, as of yet, taken out any of the big units.
No, it sounds like they underperformed a little bit. The Beasts came up, they were a bit tired from their walk, and they really, really haven't done the business that they needed to, which is the first time we've seen that. First time we've seen Beasts be given the top of turn 2, deploy their stuff, and not absolutely wreck whatever they looked at.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think we're going to see a big play from the Gitz here. They're going to push these screens out across the board, a lot more confident now that they're not going to lose as much. We'll probably see a three-pronged attack. We'll have one up in this direction, this from the back moving into here, and here this clearing out this objective.
Phenomenal stuff.
I think it's what we'll see. We'll see a tide of tiny bouncing fanged gobs.
Yeah, I mean, and at least the Beast did make it into the game, onto the table this game, unlike some of the other games we've seen. Right, okay, so we'll come back to this game when we do. Now we need to look how the Khorne force being played by Slaanesh for Greece is faring against Rene's Ogre Mortribe army for the Czech Republic.
Wow.
The Czech Republic and the Ogres were deployed to the top right-hand side. And then the Khorne force was deployed in the bottom left-hand corner. We did see most of the kind of like Mournfang, which you can see here, and the Mournfang here engaged with some of the smaller Khorne elements, because we have a 300-point Bloodthirster, a 400-point Scarbrand, and a 400-point Varangard unit in the bottom. So while it doesn't look like there's a lot of Khorne force on the board, there's a lot of points disposition on the board at the bottom. But the Stonehorn here. Okay, so we did see that that we did lose all the Mournfang on this right-hand side thanks to these Varangard. They lost 2 on the charge.
Traded 2 Varangard for 4 Mournfang and drew out the double activation to do it.
Yes, exactly. So, okay. Over on the right-hand side, we've lost the
4 strong unit of Mournfang. However, we are seeing, like when we saw this deployment, we had Khorne building their wall, backboarding these Bloodthirsters, these key pieces and the Varangard in their army. We saw the very, very like staunch wall of Ogres here, and their game plan seems to have played out exactly as they wanted it to. We had Mournfang come and secure this objective. We had pressure put on this objective by the Frostlord on Stonehorn, and then despite a slight delay caused by a quick Khorne slingshot, we're seeing these Iron Blasters push out and unpack across the board where they can start to bring their shooting to bear. Now, I believe we have had the priority roll into turn 2.
No, so this is the bottom of turn 2.
This is the bottom of turn 2.
I'm pretty certain, which means that the Khorne... Ogres went first in turn 2. That's why that was the Mournfang charge. So and now we got the Khorne turn 2 as well. Yeah. So this is the time. This is when we're going to see Skarbrand. Everything is close. Everything is close enough. He has to. If Skarbrand hasn't gone in this turn, I'd be very surprised.
He has to commit. If he doesn't commit, he's one of the only pieces that they have that can take off that that Stonehorn.
Yes.
And so he really needs to get in there.
So he's going to have to run in, and he's going to have to murder this section. Okay, oh, perfect. Table 5, exactly like I called it. It's good to sometimes be good at your job. Let's go. We got Lucas. We got Lucas from Team Czech Republic playing with his Gloomspite Gitz on the top right-hand side with the Jaws of Mork, and the bottom left-hand side you got Dominic with his Slaanesh Pretenders Force representing Team Greece. In the first turn, we saw the Slaanesh. We saw Slaanesh go first and then move over and build a screen. Then we saw the Gitz retaliate and make some hero phase moves towards Be'lakor. And then we saw this screening unit here push out as well. Oh, sorry, no, we saw this first unit move at the bottom that got Be'lakor, so it wasn't able to charge into Be'lakor. So this unit, so the blue unit, so this blue line here, they did attack and go into Be'lakor, but they didn't kill Be'lakor in that first activation, which meant when the Slaanesh force run by Dominic did win the priority roll, he gave the turn away and was like, you've trapped yourself in your own squig-based lure. Love that.
You built your squig house and now you must live in it.
Yeah, go live in it.
Yeah.
You should go live in it. And then, which is really good because now he's set up for a massive double.
Yeah.
So what he's going to be able to do is shoot a load of his Blissbarb archers into these squigs. The whole time he's going to bring these Slickblade Seekers in. Now what he really wants to do is Euphoric Killers off one unit.
Yep.
To get the double turn, Euphoric Killers off another. Euphoric Killers is an ability where you pick a unit in your Slaaneshi turn. They give the ability, so every time they do damage, they generate depravity points. That's going to be massive. You're going to keep racking it up in points. Then you're going to drive into this backboard. Yeah, his opponent will then get the turn and be able to bring back a unit. But at that point, he's going to start being able to, the Slaanesh force will be able to summon himself.
Yeah.
The reason I'm excited for this, for Dominic particularly, is because he built the game state to play out this way.
Absolutely.
Lucas then flipped the game state on him by making that hero phase move and moving those squigs.
Yep.
So it was really smart by Lucas. So he's intended to do it. So this is two players understanding where the game goes, formulating that on the tabletop, building that strategy, and then watching it happen. And then those priority rolls get to determine the flow of that state.
Yeah.
That's a real game of Warhammer, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, it's a biggie.
That's fun.
But it still has to work. He's built the game state. He's put himself in a good position, but we've still seen that happen. Now, Table 6. You may notice, coming back to this table, a large-sized hole on the map right here. So which is big. Big. So let's talk about how we got there, and then we'll talk about what just happened and what lifted the man, the myth, the legend, the slayer of the old world. So we had the Kruleboyz start with a very conservative deployment, pushed up only very slightly across the board, building their screens, setting their unit.
This was after they'd removed 2 units off the board.
After they'd removed 2 units off the board using sneaky tactics.
Yep.
And by that, we don't mean they killed them. We mean they literally put them off the board into reserve, where they were then forgotten about, and so 1 unit was destroyed outright. We've seen the the Slaves to Darkness player push up across the board here and here with big blocks of infantry, those Splintered Fang, and Archaon YOLO'd around to the corner and engaged monsters, shooters, all kinds of things, trying to take them out. He had foreseen, using the Eye of Ed Sheeran, that he would get the next turn and be on for the double. He took a massive 17 wounds in the turn, but didn't die. Was on, killed a block of... he killed a monster, he killed a block of shooters, and only took a couple of wounds in return. Didn't go down. We got into the Kruleboyz player's turn, and thank you, Scrivo, for this perfect shot, using Strike at the opening, a weedy little Swamp Caller Shaman with its tiny, tiny poison dagger scraped the Lord of the End Times to death with a venom-encrusted blade. The crustiest of deaths for the crustiest of old fantasy dudes.
So because he went second in the turn, because Kruleboyz went second in the turn, Pavel, you do have in this GHB, so this General's Handbook, the ability to do a hero phase fight in the hero phase with a hero as a heroic action. That's what he used, and then boom, that went down. That's good. That really freed him up in some other spaces as well. Those two Shamans, and then it looks like... And then 14 damage from the Splinter Fang into the Splinter Fang from the Bullboys.
They're lifted.
Yeah, and then it looks like we've got some... there's another unit in front of them as well on the left-hand side. Those are some untamed beasts in there as well. Like we've said, the output on the Kruleboyz army is phenomenal because, like... just very, very good. But ultimately, it's whether or not he can bring all those resources to bear. There's still another unit, Splinter Fang.
Yep.
He's still going to be able to bring some units back as well. It's all about whether or not he is going to get the priority role next.
However, we've still got the named character monster there. We've still got a unit here. We've still got units here, and with that unit of shooters still alive, and the unit of Splintered Fang at the top screened and engaged, that unit is going to have a free reign to shoot their hearts out. 14 mortal wounds this turn. It'll be interesting to see what's next.
Exactly. All right, table one, ladies and gentlemen, we have a result, unsurprisingly. 26 points to 12, going to the Czech Republic. Andre with a very dominant game with his Knights of the Empty Throne against Dimitri with his Ironeth Deepkin. Unfortunate for Dimitri. Feel like this is just a tough matchup.
Absolutely.
And it just didn't go his way. Congratulations to Czech Republic putting a score on the board. There's 1 hour and 33 minutes left of this round. So we still haven't got any results from around the room. I have seen a couple of games closed out.
Yeah.
But looking across the room, it looks like pretty much every game is still going on.
It looks like 3/4 of games are still playing.
There's some obviously the big match between Denmark and America. That's the one for maybe the event. But then you've got former world champions, England, or current world champions actually, England battling out against Spain. They dropped their first round ever yesterday against the Danish. So the Danish looking to take them out. Then you've got a really tight match with Australia, really stepping up their performance from the previous year, playing into Sweden, who had a bit of a savage round yesterday. So they're a bit gutted where they're at.
Rob, we're hearing big news from Table 4. Table 4, it's a big turn for Khorne, and so guess what's come out?
The Bloodthirster?
Even more important than the Bloodthirster.
Scarbrand?
Even more important than Scarbrand. Do you know what it is, Rob?
No.
It's the candle.
Oh my God.
It's the Khorne candles back out. Khorne candles out, baby. And that's how you know it's an important turn. Absolutely key. Absolutely vital.
If you didn't join us,
there it is.
If you didn't join us earlier, every single time he does prayers, he lights his candle.
Thank you, Scrivo. There it is. That's the candle there, burning away the ambitions of Khorne. Will it be enough to provide the olfactory edge this Khorne army needs to take off those Ogre Moor tribe beasties?
Yes. No. No. I don't know. The candle's thrown me. The candle's a lot.
See, Rob, I love that you thought the important pieces in this unit was a unit of Varangard or a Scarbrand or a Bloodthirster. It's not. It's obviously the scented candle. My goodness gracious me. Now, how do we get here? We had these Khorne units, the Bloodthirsters, Scarbrand, and the Varangard play very defensively. They selfishly flung their screens forward to die, generating a bunch of points for them in their death, and we've seen the unpacking. We've seen 3 Iron Blasters surrounding a Spellcaster, the Slaughtermaster back there. We've had a unit of Mournfang scoring here. A unit of 5 Mournfang picked up this objective and then died trying to hold up the Varangard, who did want to have none of it, but we do still have 2 Mournfang here, so a lot of pieces taken off the board for Khorne, none of the big damage dealers, for very little taken off the board for this army of Ogre Maw tribes. It'll be interesting to see, really interesting to see.
Yeah, so let's just jump through the tables again just to keep us updated with where we're at. Table 2, this is our game with Morathi and the Bow Snakes going into Teclis. We have just heard that the priority going into turn 3 was also won by the Daughters of Khaine army, played by Mikhail from the Czech Republic.
They are absolutely spawning their way across the board.
So it's very, very aggressive. There you can see the god of magic up against the goddess of eating elven souls herself, Morathi, and he's probably not very long for this world. So there's not much left of the Lumineth force. This is another dominant game for the Czech Republic here. This is very good. Dimitrios in a really tough position, which is a real shame. But like again, the pairings are quite interesting. Dimitrios looking dejected.
He's had a rough run.
Dejected.
Then again, look, I feel for him, but also he's playing heel on, so I hope he suffers.
Okay, so that's table 2. So looking really good for Czech Republic at the minute. I'm going to call games 1, game 2 for Czech Republic.
Absolutely.
Game 3. This is our really tight match for Lucas, who's German but playing for Team Greece. He's a Merkin right now, and he's playing his Jaws of Mork army with all the power pieces, and he was able to give the turn away, 2 Beasts of Chaos in the second turn. And the second turn, that did mean that the Beast of Chaos had to land in an unfavourable position, being played by Jan, and so he's been able to put some of his big monsters at the back here. But he isn't going to be able to bring a lot of his damage to the fore, so that's going to be quite interesting to see where it goes. But unfortunately, I think the Gitz can just put so much power in, and the Beasts of Chaos have now got no recursion. But you do have the Luntrine still safe as well from any monster attacks.
That's the big pit, right? There's 2 monsters. There's a Sigor and a Gorgon, and neither of them are going to have the opportunity to get into that Luntrine.
So there's the Sigor pinned in by a bunch of squigs, and then the Gorgon is on the other side, and again isn't going to be able to get to that Luntrine.
So Gorgon over here,
and they're just going to keep losing models. They're just going to keep losing models. They're not going to be able to heal. That's how it's going to work. So it's a tough time. So that's table number 3. So table 4 is that game we just talked about. Dan
Khorne versus the Ogres.
Eloquently recapped. It's lovely. And Khorne versus Ogres. Scarbrand. It does look like Scarbrand is making, as they say, the moves.
Yes, but Rob, we're going to have a charge from these Varangard here into this Iron Blaster, and Iron Blasters shooting on Unleash Hell are nothing to sniff at. They've got a large grape shot attack that can do a ton of damage.
We have asked if we can get the bases. John, I don't know if you can get some close-ups of the bases for the Squig Force we just left on table 3. That'd be really great. I think they're crowd favourites. They were yesterday as well, Dan, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
I think one of the things that we have to remember is that, of course, this is a miniatures hobby, not just a tactical game hobby as well. I always think of both of those 2 things. They're quite clearly 3D printed. They're super cool. And they're a lurid paint scheme, as I would say.
Yeah, what a wonderful base.
Quite fun, and very easy to see from the top down. I'm not sure if we could plan that. But
thank you. But the thing that I'd say about that, I really, really like seeing bases with a lot of point, because usually you see incredible amounts of attention put onto the models, but then the bases are sort of an afterthought, where, my gosh, that's just awesome.
So I know we're going to go to our Kruleboyz game in a moment, and absolutely lovely base. We do have our Kruleboyz game, but apparently we also have another Kruleboyz game happening somewhere else in the room, and we do have a picture of that right now. And there's the KO. They keep being paired into KO, and they keep losing into KO. So real winning strategy there, putting that into your list.
However, Rob, KO are going to dominate a number of lists. Put them into Kruleboyz and take one of their big strikers off the board for someone that you absolutely are happy to throw under the bus.
Just pair them into the 1 Archeon at the event. Yeah. 1 win out of 6. Perfect.
Rob, he'll be on 2 wins if he takes this out.
Well, just saying.
So check yourself. You better.
I will.
Yeah, facts are facts, Rob.
I will. Right. Okay. So table 4, Scarbrand going in. Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. But we got we're on table 4. We're waiting for Scarbrand to go in.
Scarbrand will go in here. Looks like we've got the Whiff Thirster going up against 2 Mournfang, which is probably the only thing on the board that he has any chance of killing, given that he bought his axe at the dollar store. And we'll have these Varangard committing into the Iron Blaster. He really does need to commit absolutely everything, otherwise he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Table 5, this is there we go. I've been setting this up for 2 hours. This is the Slickblade Seekers play. I would like to know how many, depravity is currently on the board here for the Slaanesh force, because they are going to try... Yeah, that's great. Where is it? On this table?
See it, look, Rob.
Yeah, also, the moon is currently there. The allegiance ability for the Gloomspite Gitz is a moon, because narratively they chase something called the Bad Moon through the mortal realms. They're constantly looking into the sky and going, "Where's the Bad Moon?" And in that particular instance, someone has brought a moon on a moon balloon with them.
Which is lovely, but if it does move into an untenable position on the table, it is going to block our line of sight, which, because it'll block the camera...
I've told them they're allowed to use it for the entire time.
I expect them to.
Yeah,
we can take a break every time we need to go to the table.
You can see the shadow of it moving on the board, and that's giving me life.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's not the shadow of the Chaos Gods. It's not the shadow of the moon, the Chaos Moon. It is the shadow of a balloon.
So this is what I've been building up to. So can I get how much depravity is on the board, please? I'd love to know.
Rob, I think we just heard, and it's 0 depravity generated so far.
All right, well, so this is pretty important. So Jan, as you can see here, Dominic is about to try and generate as much depravity from this combat,
from this pinata party,
as it possibly can. And why is this important? Well, just because they can just generate a lot of depravity, which they can use for getting buffs and everything else. But there is a lot of depravity in that unit, and those euphoric killers should do really good work here.
Yeah.
As to the board state, what he's also going to be looking to do, as well as just get this massive payoff from all these squigs, he's also going to be looking to get the prio and do the same thing into the other squigs. The reason this is such a good unit is it does so many attacks into lightly armored units.
But Rob, let's also look, again, we've been talking about the board state, and Scrivo has a great shot here for it. Scrivo, just pan back up for me a little bit. We see, because they are all strung out like this, he's been able to bring his Seekers to bear all around this unit in a small area. He'll get those kills. Now, even if those squigs have fight on death, so many of them are going to be killed in backplay that they're not actually going to be able to pile in an attack, because they won't be within 3 inches. It's
no, you still get it, because it's activated at the start of combat. It's like at the start of combat you say, this unit gets fight on death.
Yes, but I'm saying they need to pile in an attack. They need to be in range for those attacks, don't they?
Yeah, they will. But the front, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. So, he's going to get a limited amount of attacks.
There'll be about 5 or 6 of them that'll be able to get those attacks in, but the rest won't, meaning that he's really limiting that fight-on-death damage from a number of the units in the back there.
So, just checking this out, but I think I just heard that we got 29 depravity generated.
Wow.
Which... 36 depravity.
36.
That's bingo.
That's bingo.
That's a 5-up ward.
So
that's minus. So they went from 0 depravity to 36 depravity. They went from no buffs to -1 to hit, all 6s to hit, do mortal wounds, and also a 5-up ward across the army in one combat phase. If they win the priority roll, then they're going to go in again. They're going to do the same thing. Then they're going to have enough depravity to also summon as well.
Fight on death is a lot less scary for them when they've got a 5-up ward. They'll be really happy that it pinged all the way to the top before they got struck back, because it's going to mean that they're just going to be so durable now.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in an okay position as well. If you look, they've got this unit of Slickblade, Blissbarb Seekers at the bottom. They've also got their Blissbarb Archers. They've got their other unit of Blissbarb Archers at the top. And then their other unit of Blissbarb Archers here. So they have some board presence outside of just this impact unit.
And up the top here as well, look at this. They've got a nice little unit up there, like tagging and screening.
The issue is going to be, and you're going to just spend all of this, and then the squigs are going to be like, by the way, another unit back, and then I'm just going to take off a unit, take off another unit. They have like a lot of support pieces, but I'm actually fairly impressed. I would say that for Lucas, I feel really rough for Lucas, because he committed very heavily into Bellicorn. Bellicorn didn't die.
Yeah.
And then Dominic was very very clever in giving that turn back and keeping him pinned in. So Dominic's been able to reduce how much output's coming into his army for 2 combat turns.
Huge.
Which has been huge. But then that's only if he gets the priority. I'm speaking as if the fate is going to allow the Slaanesh force to get the priority. We don't know that's going to be the case, but if he does get the priority, it's then going to be good. If not, then that unit of Squigs is going to come over and just gobble up the Slaanesh.
I was about to say, we've seen from Squigs time and time again, Noah yesterday, they don't need many turns to bring the power out. They're so strong. They do so much damage. And Rob, you saying that you've been representing Team Malta from the desk.
Yep.
Team Malta's in the chat.
Team Malta!
There you go.
Let's go.
We'll come back to this table in a little bit, but it looks like they've done a really good job, cleared out just about all that screen of Squigs, but left some alive in the back, meaning they're not going to be
it's that unit. It's that unit. So the priority roll needs to get them.
Yeah.
Okay, so table 2.
He's lifted.
That Morathi. So Michael playing Calibron, Daughters of Khaine, and Dimitrios with his Helon Lumineth Realm Lords for Team Greece. He just got a rough turn.
Yeah.
Teclis moved forward into the mid-board. Morathi came into the middle with some shooting, devastating, a bunch of shooting, and then they got the priority roll, and then it was just all game over.
Yeah.
Then Teclis didn't have anything. Teclis and also this little unit Sentinels didn't have any pushback into the mid-board, and then the priority into turn 3 just finished that off.
Yeah.
It's all over. That's a big win.
And looks like one lonely little unit of Sentinels still running away here in the backfield, soon to be hunted down by Morathi. And given that they are old High Elf models, I can't see them
really
die
hype about that.
enough.
Let me see them. Let's go. Old High Elf models. They're legit Lumineth Realm Lords, in my opinion. They're great. They're great little pickups, in my opinion. Great shout.
Sure thing, Boomer.
They're cute. They're cute models. Like those other ones with 9 strings. They're like a nightmare to paint.
I was about to say, at least they're a little bit less over-designed.
Can't be gone. That was good. That was funny. Right. Okay. So I want to get to the end table because I don't think we've hit it in a while.
No, we haven't.
So Gitz, Ogres, Scarbrand has gone in, and the Stonehorn has been lifted in Rene's game with Czech Republic against Slaanesh from Team Greece. We've just seen it go in. Boom. We've just seen the big Stonehorn go down to Scarbrand. We also saw the Bloodthirster on the left-hand side go up and take out a unit of Mournfang. Khorne are making it back. We need to know how many Blood Tithe. Unfortunately, very much like Gimli, the Stonehorn still only counts as 1 for Blood Tithe.
Yeah, and
heartbreak.
Rob, here's the really big question here. We've got 1 Varangard, looks like it got shot to bits. We've got 3 left, so there'll be 3. And look at here, this Scarbrand, he's standing comfortably on the center objective, and if priority goes to the Ogres, we have 2 big angry cannons here ready to give him.
Baby.
Well, this one's going to be dead. The Varangard are going to lift that one off.
Oh, there's a Varangard in them.
Yeah, they're going to eat him. But that's a lot of buckshot for Scarbrand to eat. If they pull up point blank and unleash on his face, these Mournfang can move to screen the Varangard out here. We can have a nice little Scarbrand firing line here to put him in the dirt. This could be anyone's game. Honestly, anyone's game depending on this priority. But I think
this is going to be good.
Khorne have definitely turned it around and put themselves in the driving seat.
Well, I think they've always just been giving up the mid-board, waiting to put that. Like the Scarbrand and those Varangard are the nearly 1,000 points of the army. Everything else's job is movement is the intended. The purpose of movement is to position your forces where you want them to go. It's application of force. And then Slaanesh has done a really good job of making the board state appear how he wants it to, so he can put his pieces in. So very, very exciting.
Now he's committed. We'll see some trades.
Look at that. Look at that. There we go. Doing really well. Really, really good. Oh, this is the prio? I think we're seeing a prio. That's 1 dice. Oh my god, that's 1 for Ogres.
Oh dear.
I think, can I get an update please, table bosses? I think we just saw a priority right there. This is pretty exciting.
This is massive.
Because Scarbrand goes in.
We're about to see it. I believe we're about to see it marked down.
I just don't know if any of the table bosses can hear us.
I don't know. Who's got the priority?
No, we can't hear you if you think you're talking. We're just waiting. Khorne won the priority.
Huge.
Look how gutted he is. Look how gutted he is. He is gutted.
He's about to have a really hard turn. That was the priority for the game.
Yeah, he's having a really tough time. Oh, yeah, I think, or maybe this. So he's having a thank you. He's having a really, really hard time at the moment.
He really did set himself up for a good place, but that Khorne double turn is going to be really punishing. Really, really punishing.
Yikes! Well. It's currently 14-12.
In Khorne's favour.
Yeah, in Khorne's favour. Right, so table 5, we still need to know if there's a priority. There should be a priority soon on table 5.
Ooh.
My God, massive. Gloomspite Gitz, played by Lucas of Team Czech Republic, have won the priority going into turn number 3. They obviously are going to take it, and that is yikes, chat. Hit me with the big yikes in the chat, because if you are the Slaanesh force, you are about to get bounded.
Oh, yeah.
So this unit of Gitz is going to go into the mid-board, hit all this. They're going to hit all that. They're going to try and return a unit. They've got a clammy hand, so they're going to bring that unit over as well. This could be punishing.
Yeah,
punishing.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We'll see. I mean, look, we've got a hero phase. We've got a bit to get through. But let's have can we jump back to table 6 because I want to see how these Kruleboyz have done. And wow. Look at what we've got here. It looks like we've got a unit of gut rippers in the bottom. Looks like we've got a unit of gut rippers still holding on there. The shooters, the bolt boys in the middle, and a character here, but not much on this table.
The Sludge-Raker.
There's not much presence. The Sludge-Raker's right there. He's there. Yeah,
he's blending in, which is very narrative.
Yeah, very stealth. Very stealth.
Very narrative.
So let's quickly talk about how we got here because it's amazing. Kruleboyz for the win. They are
another
spectacular.
Yikes.
Now, you shush, you big Kruleboy deletist. They are the elitist, and they shall not be deleted. So we had Kruleboyz deploying a line here against a Slaves to Darkness, a very conservative move. Kruleboyz put out screens here and here to protect their really vital shooting units, which were their output of damage. We had a couple of big monsters as well, and then we had the casters characters. The Slaves to Darkness pushed up, engaged with units of Splintered Fang along the front line, which was all just a feint for a big charge from Archaon into the side. Archaon took out monsters, he took out units, but he traded for his own life, which was maybe not the best tactical maneuver because he is the Lord of the End Times, and he died to a weedy little spellcaster's grubby little mitts, and he left a massive hole in this army. Since then, we saw the Splintered Fang unit in the middle get absolutely deleted by these Bolt Boys. 14 mortal wounds in a single round of shooting, and from there we're just seeing a very measured, a very slow application of force from these Kruleboyz. The Sludge-Raker, the Gut Rippers, the Bolt Boys, and the other Gut Rippers here. They're not going to advance too far. They don't have the durability or the models to do it, so I think they're just going to play into these 3 objectives here, here, and here.
No, we heard that
to outscore.
We've heard the priority has gone to the Slaves to Darkness army, being played by Marios from Team Greece. And yeah, now we're getting the Ravager's ability, so this is the ability to bring a unit back at half strength that was died. So there's 30 Splintered Fang going to turn back into 15 Splintered Fang. Is that going to be enough to take out Scumdrek in the middle? Yes, they've a lot of attacks. 15 is 45 attacks with mortals on 6s, so it's 15 mortal wounds.
It might be, but that's not what matters. What matters is this unit of Bolt Boys with the Swamp Caller Shaman in the back. So they might take them out. And
10 more wins.
And absolutely great job to them. High five, pat yourself on the back, dislocate a shoulder, telling yourself how good you are, because all that's going to happen is they're going to trade this for the Bolt Boys. The Bolt Boys will take them off the board and leave them in a position where they can't score points.
Pretty exciting.
Really great game. And Rob, you know what you're going to have to say at the end of this round? Kruleboyz, 2 wins, 1 loss. That's what you're going to have to say at the end of this round. In the chat, if you are ready to hear Rob pain in his voice as he announces it and get Krul tattooed across his knuckles. I saw him counting it out before to make sure he had enough fingers and thumbs.
So dumb.
It will be spectacular.
This is so dumb.
Oh, what a wonderful game. What a wonderful game. We could stay here or we could go and take a look at tables 7 and 8. Rob, would you like to stay with the Kruleboyz dominance?
We will do that.
Would you like to stay here? It's a great time. It's a great time. It's a party.
It's very dumb. Okay, so we are over on
Kruleboyz summer.
We're over on table 7. Thanks, Dan.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat. They want us to.
We've got Tom Holders playing his Host Duplicitous for Team Greece, and we've got Zdeněk Nemek playing his Lumineth Realm Lords for the Team Czech Republic. We have had a pretty exciting game so far, but it is not fast. Let's put it that way. With an hour and 11 minutes on the clock, I think they're still in turn 2. What happened in the first turn? What happened is the Lumineth moved up on the first turn. They moved Teclis into the midboard where he roughly is now. Sentinels moved up, as you can see them. They were here and then they moved up to where they are now. But importantly, they put a unit of wind charges into trying to screen and block the army. And if you look, I'm pretty certain we've still got our Lord of Change at the back there, being protected from this shooting. But the board is dominated by the Lumineth Realm Lords. They've just been pinning them back and then just been shooting and fighting them back as quickly as possible. We are Ogroid at
But Rob, can I draw your attention to something? If we switch to the Scrivo cam and he pans slightly to the right for me to pick up that Ogroid Thaumaturge, we heard that Ogroid had killed many, many Sentinels previously. The last we saw of him, charged after a Tunnel Master into a unit using Destiny Dice. It was a unit of 20 Sentinels. And you know what's not there anymore, Rob?
Those Sentinels.
A unit of 20 Sentinels. I'm pretty sure I saw them off the board. Gone! Absolutely chopped to bits.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's a really cute play, actually. Tunnel Master, Destiny Dice charge. That's quite fun. Before this event, he already had done 57 Sentinels. He didn't kill loads of them, but apparently the rest ran away. So
that sounds about right. Fickle, terrified elves.
Yeah, I still
can't fight a stand-up fight.
I still think we've got like some pretty good. We've got the 10 Wardens here, Teclis, and you got the other Sentinels here as well. But we're still in the very early turns. We're not seeing a lot of this output, and the board state is still a pretty. This is the bottom of turn 2. For which force, please? It must be for Tzeentch, yeah. Okay. So for Tzeentch. So 8-4. They are gonna hold these objectives, but they're gonna struggle because they don't have a lot of output other than this. Don't forget, Teclis is putting out protection of Teclis, which is a 5-up ward save, and also he has the did know their name at one point, but they're magical orbs, and what they do is they give a 4-up spell ignore to everyone within range as well. Yeah. And so that is going to be very prodigious as well. That's a different board. Okay. So that's this game so far. It's still going to be probably our slowest game, as most of our Tzeentch games are, and we're just waiting to see what happens with this priority roll. But I think, just looking at the board state, Dan, I don't think this goes anywhere particularly. I think what we end up doing is we see Tzeentch try and push out a little bit constantly, and then this center blob of damage, both Teclis and everyone else, just keep hitting it back. So.
Yeah, I honestly think in this arm wrestle, we're going to see Helon take it. As much as I don't want to give the elves credit, I think they've just got the output, not necessarily to clear, to put the damage on to take off the key pieces, but to take off the scoring units, and that's what's going to tell over the course of the next couple of turns of this battle.
Yeah, so just for everyone at home who is excited, I'll just bring us into the shot in a moment. Everyone at home is excited about finding out the results from of the other matches. I know Tongguan just won a game for America. That's because he literally came and sat next to me and told me the result. Okay, so what happens is individual games, which are still ongoing, because there is still an hour and a half left in the round, an hour and 10 minutes, are still ongoing. We don't know the results, and also those results are collated by the team coaches and are then given in, and that's the first time we know.
Yes.
And we don't know. So I don't know how the game's going between Australia and Sweden. I don't know how the other game's going either. But we will know later. So tune in for later, and we'll give you that.
At the end of this round, they collate them all at the very end, and then they bring them in. But we would need a truly staggeringly sized crew to bring you live updates the whole time, because the only way to get them is to individually go around 24 nations constantly and do it, while somehow covering 8 tables of war dollies, which is a mental load I can't handle. Rob, could you handle that mental load?
I mean, eventually, one day, 1 year. I mean, obviously, I love doing the coverage. I would like to have a stats crew. I've already got Ziggy's here in the field. Massive shout out to him. He's already bringing you like live updates with information already. So we're already getting that, but we do need a man in the field to go and grab all that info. And even then, that's a prodigious amount of work, even for all of those guys to do. So we will get there in the world's coverage as the years improve. This year, pretty amazingly, you got 5 days of coverage, which is better than last year. It was 4 days of coverage. And then most of the equipment works. So year in, year out, we got this. Yeah, it's just going to keep
Absolutely.
going.
Okay, so shall we jump to table 8?
Yeah, we should go to table 8. So this is our game with Thomas Root from the Guild of Summoners, representing Czech Republic, so he's playing Tzeentch, up against Spiridon with his Daughters of Khaine Calibron. And then he's representing Team Greece. Now, this is going the way of all of these games. So if you can see, we do have a second Lord of Change on the board.
Yeah, we do.
Our second Lord of Change is on the board, thanks to it being Guild of Summoners. And Morathi is engaged in combat with this unit of horrors. But we have just heard that Morathi
has taken 8 wounds.
Yeah, has taken 8 wounds.
Now, looking at this board here, remember, the last time we were here, this was all blues. We're seeing some brims now. But this unit of bow snakes down the bottom had free shots at Kairos, and Kairos is still on the board. So we've clearly seen Morathi commit here. We've seen the snakes. They probably took their shots, and now they've committed to combat to try and finish the job. But this is going to look really... We're starting to look like we're in a challenging place for the Daughters of Khaine. This extra Lord of Change over here on the board is going to be putting out a lot more presence and has picked up that objective. I think we might be seeing a pretty strong pushback from Tzeentch.
I agree. I think we've got a lot of bodies on the board here, but Dan, I mean, ultimately, like, once this horror screen goes, they can't summon more horrors. I think they do have 10 at the back, actually. Yeah. So they have another 10 that they can put in to try and do the same job. And with Destiny Dice, you can get a more successful charge, more likely. But the major issue is going to be just this unit of bow snakes and Morathi. Don't know how many wounds Morathi's got left on her at the moment, so that's going to be pretty
she's
important.
She's taken 8.
Okay, so she's close to dead, but she's got another turn, or she's got another 2 turns at least. Yeah. So that's so that's going to be important. But those bow snakes should be able to do prodigious work. They can pretty much cane a lot of change in one shooting phase.
They can,
and they get 2.
But they are currently engaged.
Yes,
they're within 3.
That's what I meant about the horrors. Once the horrors are cleared, they need to lock them up again.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they're just going to lose a totality of output.
Be really interesting to know whether the bow snakes, it looks like from where they were, it does look like they've charged in. They've charged into the combat rather than the horrors returning units into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting match. So we've just got the current round right now. Thank you very much to Ziggy for this. We've got 18 points already to Czech Republic and then 2 points to Greece. Yeah. Right? Rob, not everything is prestigious. Some might be, is the interesting part. So that's currently 18-2. We've got some other games to wrap up, but we have lots to talk about still. So table 2. Daughters of Khaine were priority top around 4. I'm just going to tell you right now that this doesn't matter. So savagely over for the Daughters of Khaine. The recap is the recap. Normally we could go for a flowery recap, but let me just tell this: the Lumineth army got battered. It got shot to pieces, and then it kept losing priorities and got shot more, and it's all over.
The question was shiny bow versus scaly bow, and the answer was scaly bow.
Well, so like the Lumineth are like, I need to get within 6 inches to shoot twice, and then the bow snakes were like, losers, you suck. I'm gonna shoot you so many times.
Get wrecked. Here comes the venom.
And while the range is normally better for the Realm Lords, they backboarded. The important part here is Michael very cleverly backboarded his snakes, then moved his snakes into the mid board, then got involved in the fight.
Yeah. All right. So table 1 and 2 are pretty much all over. Well, table 1 is all over. Table 2, very, very close. Table 3, let's look at these Gitz versus Beasts.
Yeah. So do you want to just catch us up what happened in the game?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So we came out here, and the Gitz, they started with a lovely little Git conga line all centered around their Loon Shrine. They didn't push out too aggressively because they knew this entire Beast of Chaos army that we're now seeing spread across the board, they deployed off the board. because Beasts of Chaos love to deploy off the board. For those who were with us yesterday, you might remember how this epically backfired and left an entire player unable to bring a single model on the board. That was incredible. So that was an awesome game. But right now, we've had the Gitz along here. They've pushed out slightly. They won the priority into turn 2 and gave it to Beasts of Chaos. Beasts of Chaos have stretched across the board here, and here, but couldn't bring themselves anything to bear. We've seen the Gorgon get tied up here. We've seen the Sigor on the other side of the board, so not anywhere near close enough to put the aggression on the Loon Shrine to stop the recursion of any lost units. And since then, it looks like we've seen Bulgor, we've seen things try to do the damage, but they have just underperformed against this Gitz army. You can see there, look at that gorgeous shot from Scrivo, and it really shows the aggressive push. Now, we do have these 3 Morgite Chaos spawn right there that they reduce attacks by 1, and it stacks, meaning anything that goes into them here, namely this unit of Squigs, is going to be -3 attacks. However, with Jaws of Mork, they've got +1. They're just going to absolutely tear holes. And those spawn, the Morgite Chaos spawn, prefer to do their damage in shooting, not in combat. So this is looking not great for the Beasts of Chaos. We've seen a number of Beasts of Chaos games bring back victories from the jaws of defeat, but I think this time they're going to end up in the jaws of the Squigs very, very shortly. However, there are points on the board to play for, and let's remember this is a teams event, so if you're going down, it's far more important to scrape every point you can away from your opponent to keep the balance of power in your other games, because ultimately, it doesn't matter how you do, it matters how your team does. Oh, look at them. Now, we actually do have some updates from the room, so let's jump in here. Mate, I hear you've got some updates for us.
I've been doing some sneakily snuffling of my own.
Ooh, snuffle me them sneaks. Snuffle me them sneaks.
So I picked up some results. I think the people at home are going to be kind of interested.
If the news in Australia versus Sweden isn't good, I don't want it.
Okay, well let's start with that. Okay, so we've got a result for Australia, and the Tzeentch player has beaten the Swedish Fireslayers player.
Oh, good news. Great. Now
also,
stop there if it gets worse.
Also, Ronja,
the Night Queen. Undefeated. She was
currently
going up against Team Australia.
Just about to take a double turn from their KO player. So that game is...
So sorry, wait. What you're telling me is that it might be someone from Team Australia who is currently double turning Ronja with KO.
We could have a very big result there.
No. But get over there and tell them there is one game.
But you never count her out.
There is one game I don't want Australia to win, and it's that one.
I know.
I can't return back to Australia. If we are the country that stops the Night Queen Ronja's winning streak, I don't know how we're going to live with ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to move quickly on because
Great.
France versus Poland, which is the other kind of championship, the first kind of championship game, the one we're looking on a knife edge.
Wow.
Very, very close. There is a lot of stressed people looking at
Obviously,
on that table.
I'm incredibly biased. France beat Australia, so I'm definitely pro-Poland. Pro-Poling.
The other one, USA versus Denmark. We have had 3 games called. The current differential score with those 3 called games, so these are finished dice down, is 56-4 to the USA.
Wow, that's big. That's big. That's huge. My goodness. Can you imagine if Team USA comes here and we've seen England knocked off? The US looks like they're throwing a tea party. They've come all this way to throw all that tea into the sea.
My dark horse, USA genuinely were my dark horse pick this weekend.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. They have got some seriously well-rehearsed and practiced players. So... what we're going to do is I'm going to just hand it back to Rob now because I'm going to need to go take back some bosses.
Absolutely. Get back over there.
Give you some more stuff as and when we get it.
Then we'll get back to it. Okay. Fantastic. Excellent. Wonderful updates. Wow. Can you imagine if Australia are going to be the ones to do it? We're going to jump back to table 4 and look at this expression of power from the Khorne. Now, I don't know if you remember, but when we were last at this table, Khorne had just one priority. And what we had a Bloodthirster here. we had a Bloodthirster over here, and we had some Varangard here, and we definitely had a lot more Ogre Mawtribes units on the board, and devastatingly, heartbreakingly, it looks like there's only 1 unit, 2 units left for the Ogre Mawtribes playing for their absolute lives. We have an Iron Blaster and a Slaughter Priest, and that's about it. So how we got here, Khorne deployed very, very gently. They screened a little bit, and they were willing to give up those screens to the heavy hits of all of these Ogre Mawtribes. The Ogres pushed forward maybe even a touch too aggressively and moved their way across the board. Now, then we saw a big turn from Khorne where they committed their all of their big beasties, and the Varangard pushed in, and then it was on a knife edge. It was on an absolute stinger priority roll. Whoever got it, if the Ogres got it, they were going to bring their 3 Iron Blasters to bear and in a shooting gallery of Khorne death. If they lost it, the Khorne were going to commit and tear themselves a new hole in the Ogre stomachs, and Khorne won it. So we've seen Scarbrand, Bloodthirster, Varangard absolutely devastate them. We're in the bottom of round 3. It's the Ogres' turn. However, they don't have much less to do.
No, they've got nothing left, Dan. They've got nothing left. What are they going to do? That Slaughtermaster is about to be gets beat master.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about to be
a slaughtered master.
Yeah, a slaughtered master. So he's about to have a terrible time, in my opinion. Hello, the rogue in the chat. Hello, everyone in the chat, by the way. Just want to thank everyone for being here.
The Rogve.
Wait, hold on. So on table 6, the Kruleboyz won priority.
It's all ogre.
It's all ogre, baby.
The Kruleboyz.
But he's out of battle tactics.
He's out. Well, that's because he's been doing 2 a turn. The Boggy Boys are out of tactics. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Normally we're talking about which one are we going to choose. There's good ones, there's bad ones, there's hard ones, there's impossible ones. We've never had a I'm out of battle tactics.
Yes, yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
Yeah. So the quick update for people who've just joined us. I think we've got some shots of this here. But the first turn was taken by there was an Archeon on the board, and then 40 Splintered Fang. They took the first turn knowing that they were going to get. Oh no, they gave the first turn away, knowing that they were getting the double turn. The first turn, what happened was those units moved into the mid board, and then they YOLO'd in the Slaves to Darkness army with the clutch moment being Archeon unable to unseat a Sludge Raker. The Sludge Raker not dying meant that it took a ton of mortal wounds back in return, and then in the next turn took some more mortal wounds in combat, and then finally in the Kruleboyz turn they shot him off the board, shot the Splinter Fang off the board, and then they have pushed into the middle, which is pretty rough.
Rob.
Oh wow! Wait, was this on? Wait,
on this table game? 1.
Oh, on table 1.
So table that's over. We're just hearing that on table 1, things went slightly bad for Slaves to Darkness. In that, in the first turn, the Sorcerer Lord miscast on 3d6 and blew his own head off at the very top of turn 1.
So currently, let's look at the score. So Pavel with his Grinning Blades has got 17 points. Marios with representing Team Greece has got 15 points. But currently, Pavel with Grinning Blades, Kruleboyz have got the turn.
But let's remember, he has no battle tactics left. But
he has actually got some units.
He does have models
very
on the
much
board.
Unlike Marios.
Yeah.
I've always thought, even if you're in a down position, having models on the board versus not is better. Better. If I have no models on the board, I'm like, yikes.
Yeah.
This is bad. So a pretty savage turn, really, or a pretty savage game, really showing the totality of how those armies play.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you excited about your new tattoo?
I'm really excited about it.
Kruleboyz Summer, baby.
I'm really excited.
Kruleboyz Summer.
I like Kruleboyz. My despondency with their rules and their ability to play on the top tables here at AOS Worlds in no way is relegated. This was a good match, but the Archeon Archeon whiffed. He just needs to kill the Sludge Rake and this game is all over.
Did he whiff, or did he just know he didn't have a chance? I think
he always kills him on the math, right? So it was pretty rough. But I mean, and also maybe target priority as well. Marios maybe should have chosen the Bolt Boys,
absolutely,
and not the Sludge Rake.
The only thing I can think is that he charged in there to pull the Bolt Boys in. Maybe they were outside of range and they piled in and attacked. We did miss the beginning of those combat moments, but now we're seeing. Now we're seeing we've got the big beastie there. We've got this shooty combo with the Swamp Caller Shaman and the Bolt Boys, and they're just going to continue to project power across the board for the rest of the game.
So, there we go. Oh, okay, amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so Jeremy for Team USA.
Yeah.
This is the update for everyone. So Jeremy for Team USA currently been paired into KO for a third time. Third time, and he's on his third beat a KO time.
Wow.
Like, he's beat KO with his Fire Slayers list 3 times in a row. It's because I just don't think that they've got the output. And then Gotch just goes in and just slaps everything to pieces.
Well, also, with him having so many Grimwrath Berserkers, they've got to split up their attacks to take him down. Now, Rob, let me ask you, Night Queen Ronya.
Oh, she's apparently on the ropes.
She's on the receiving end of a KO double turn delivered by Team Australia.
Nothing. She'll be fine.
It's the one game I don't want Team Australia to win.
I like that. I like that. I like the Ronya's dream of being alive.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
I want Australia to win the round, but Ronya to win the game. That's where I want to be.
And now, I've only just got this update, but as I'm reading it, 3 games have been called for the USA. So, no, that makes 4 games called. And there's 4 have currently gone against Denmark to the USA.
Yeah.
Okay, which is now obviously Denmark could get the other 4 games in the bag, right? Yeah. But that puts them now. I don't know if we've got any USA fans in the chat, but you boys, girls, MBs, and everyone else in the chat, you are on for what they like to call a winner.
Ooh.
And two of those USA wins apparently are 20-0s.
Big cap.
So big cap.
Full
big cap for real.
Full cap for real.
Because if you're excited, I don't know this, but the boys, the team of the USA might be about to ruin this tournament.
My God.
They've got, because the Danes are a big threat. They've probably got to face the French in the next round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, look, the USA came here in the 1940s and did good work. They're here in the 2023s and they're doing good work. So they need a good kind of like 70 years in between performances.
So let's just focus on the games we are doing, though, between the lovely Czech Republic and Team Greece. We have got 50 minutes left on the clock, so we'll start hearing updates, and we'll try and keep giving you as they happen. So Table 2 is all over. They're just rolling it out. This is a win for the Daughters of Khaine.
Big win.
And the Czech Republic. Then we have Jan with his Gavspawn BCKs for Czech Republic against Lucas with his Greek Gloomspite Gitz.
Greek Gitz.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, we are seeing, like, the Gavspawn are running out of models fast. They did score up early. However, they're not going to have the points come the end of the game. The Gitz are going to clear too much of their pieces off the board. They're not going to be able to take it. I think this didn't play out his way. Really didn't play out his way. But Gitz do have just the models, the speed, and the output to deal with Beasts of Chaos, even with their tricksy little dancing around the board.
They also commit heavily to their screen. If they can just put. Normally, what you do is you screen your big important piece.
Yeah.
That way, and that's really good for Beasts of Chaos, because Beasts of Chaos are really good to removing the screen
and getting behind
and hitting the big important piece. But Gitz are just like, guess what? My big important piece
is the screen. And if you hit it and kill it, I'm just going to bring it back.
Yeah. If you kill it, I don't care. Also, I fight on death. Guess what? I don't care.
Yeah. So if you kill me, I kill you, and then I get to come back for free.
So yeah, really devastating, and that Loon Shrine is the key part. You do have to protect the Loon Shrine, keep it safe. That has to be important.
Yeah.
Pretty thrilling stuff, all said and done. And this is a good match, but I think unfortunately for Jan, that turn 2 priority, he would have liked to have given it away and made the Gitz move out more. But I think probably always goes this way. I think this is a good pairing. I think Greece did well here.
Great.
They gave themselves the right matchup.
Yeah, great matchup. And also, let's remember, even if he had won and given it away, the Gitz could have comfortably just done what they did in the turn 1. Slightly build out their screens, keep everything zoned out, and just say, cool, there's literally no board change. You're still going to do the same thing, and I'm still going to tear you apart.
Yeah. So we've had some questions. Does anything be a good pairing into Gitz? Actually, that's pretty good, because that takes us into our next match, which is Slaanesh. Now, a lot of people think it's either going to be Lumineth or it's going to be Slaanesh. Lumineth because they get to shut you down with spells like Be'lakor and other stuff and shut units down. It's kind of the key part. Although I think that they still struggle with output. But I think a lot of teams here at the Worlds have banked on Slaanesh doing the job, and then here you can see that I might have been proven right in that matchup. So in the top, they've seen the Gitz are swamped now by all those other units, and I don't think I'd like to know from our table how many depravity is currently on the board.
Because he did cap it last turn, so if he hasn't summoned,
well, no, he probably won't have had 38, but he will. He's going to generate it this turn, so now he's going to be on for some more summoning as well. But if you look, he's pushing aggressively into the Gitz territory, and then the Gitz just don't have the bodies to hold this back now. Yeah, so the 8 Slick Blades are going to get euphoric killers. I would expect him to put probably another 30 depravity in the pool.
Yep.
And this is literally, like we said, depravity pinatas. Yep. That's what the Gitz are there for. That's why the pairings has gone their way in this one. So this is pretty good. We heard Skaven are good into Gitz. We did see.
We saw that on the screen.
We saw Gitz table them in 2 turns yesterday. It's because you can't
unleash hell more than once.
Just charge something else.
And the thing is, even if all they have to throw into you is 2 units of squigs, they don't care. They'll throw 2 units of squigs into you because they get the one that you shoot back for free, and they get to fight on death. They don't care. They're literally like, hey, you're like, I'm going to shoot you with all these flamethrowers, and they're like, sick. I've got more, and I'll get that unit back.
Yeah, that's a bad bet. I think it's a bad bet. The Skaven. Watching them get totaled yesterday.
Totaled at the top of turn 2, I believe. It was, but I think the thing is, on paper, that is a great matchup. But the problem is, in practice, the Gitz book just has so many answers for those questions, and the simplest of those answers is just have more. Like, what do you got? I've just got more squigs. It's great.
So we're gonna move on from this game. So I don't know if we need a recap for everyone, but this is current score right now with the Slaanesh force having the turn as we speak. Nice shot of the bar there. Lovely.
Let's get in there.
I can give you a quick recap. I can give you a recap really quickly, though. What happened with the Slaanesh force, give down a break. He's been recapping like a legend. No. What has happened is the Slaanesh force, what they did in the first turn, they just screened out really nicely. They put Be'lakor at the bottom. Then what happened was Lucas used a hero phase move to use a unit to squig her down. This meant that then Be'lakor'd that unit. The other unit of Squigherd then moved down, engaged in this long, snaky fight. And then they won the priority. Then the Slaanesh force won the priority and gave the priority away to the Slaanesh force, to the Gitz force, because the Gitz was still locked in combat with Be'lakor at the bottom. This meant that they weren't able to really do any damage, and then Slaanesh got their big turn 2. What they were able to do is they were able to take their big unit Slickblade Seekers and push into a unit of Squigherd right here. Then they were able to move, and then the Gitz won their turn. They've obviously struck back at some other units, and then they pushed these other unit Slickblade Seekers in again. They've racked up loads of depravity points, and here we are with the Slaanesh force very buffed up, very defensive. Thank you very much. Very survivable and in a very good spot thanks to that engagement. But you got to really shout out to Dominic on his board state and his play. He created that environment for himself. He knew what his win condition was, and he made it happen. It's like chess. You know you need to check the king, but you need to make that happen.
Absolutely.
And that's what he did. It was just a lovely game.
Really well played. I think that's one of the things I've loved the most about this. We've seen some incredible play. Really, really good and really tight. I mean, I personally feel like I've learnt a lot watching the level of these games, and the execution is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, we're on to table 6 right now. That is a Kruleboyz summer on table 6, so you can mark that down as a win to the Czech Republic, Dan.
A win to the Czech Republic and a win to which allegiance?
Dear God. To the Kruleboyz, Dan. To the Kruleboyz. And then we've got
just gonna make sure
reduce the number of tables closely watched towards the end of the tournament so we can follow through games in more detail. It has to be so hard to keep up with. Pragmatically, that won't be what we do because it's not me that designed the tournament. A tournament match is 8 tables.
8 tables, yep.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And the thing is, if we brought only 4, we'd end up spending a lot of time just explaining what was happening on the other tables.
Yeah, what happened on that other table?
To bring you the picture. Because remember, it's not about how the tables do, it's about how the teams do.
Yeah.
So just because you might have 5 tables that are incredibly clearly won, but it's the small outcomes on the 3 tables that tell you how the team did.
Yeah.
I mean, last round, Team America versus Team Italy. America got 5 wins to Italy's 3. However, 4 of those games came right down to the final turns, the final wires, and that decided the team outcome. So we literally can't bring you 4 games because you'd miss all the nuance.
And if you think 8 games is tough to deal with, you should try being the crew. we understand. Of course, some of these games, and I said this last night in dinner. We are discussing one of the most complicated games you can probably play, and then we're doing it 8 times. I recognise that loads of detail gets missed and goes through the cracks. My apologies, but it's not my format.
We would love.
It's almost the worst environment.
Yeah.
It's the best games ever being played. Yeah, and I get to cover it in the least detail.
However, the thing is, by covering 8 games, we bring the nuance of the team. Maybe not the nuance of the table, but the nuance of the team.
Yeah, potentially, yeah, it's quite interesting. That's quite an interesting way about looking at it. Right. Okay. So table 4. So table 4. I'm just going to quickly catch you up. Khorne has 1 priority, but we did see Scarbrand go down in the last turn.
Yeah.
Khorne are going to take the turn.
Take turn 4.
And then also, if you look, they are on a prodigious points lead.
Yeah, this is
so
big.
They're fine.
That last priority into round 3 was a massive decider. It was a really, really big decider for them. So they now last round they've done Eat Your Fill as which was have all their units in combat, which is probably quite brave because it looks like it meant the Slaughtermaster had to charge in and then immediately died, probably to these Varangard down here. But yeah, it's even with the full updated score, it's still 21-14.
Yeah.
It's look, but we've got it's the Bloodthirster with the discount axe, but it's a discount axe Bloodthirster and 2 Varangard against a single Iron Blaster. This is going to be, it's all over Red Rover. Devastating.
The scores went up. It was that priority roll where into turn 3, where Khorne were then able to get into the Stonehorn.
Absolutely.
And the Stonehorn hadn't really engaged overly well.
Yep.
But again, some really good ball position from Khorne, being able to use those hero phase moves to put units in different places you weren't necessarily expecting them, which I think is that's the wrong game, sorry. Was a really, really good. Robert Dan, are you doing AOA teams in September as well? We are not doing those teams, but we might play in that event. Currently we're not streaming it, but maybe
where's that event?
It's here.
Hell yeah, I'll come back.
Okay, all right, done.
Sure.
All right, we got a team. I think. Okay, so all right.
Sweet, let's do it.
All right, perfect.
Let's bring a team. We'll bring the stream team to be the dream team.
Team Turbo 2.
Team Turbo 2.
That makes a lot of sense if you're Danish.
I don't know what that means though.
But this is where the Dutch live, so this has got nothing to do with the Danish.
Ah, yes, Dutch, where the Netherlands live.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yes. If anyone's interested, the Kruleboyz did win on this table. Anyway, so let's just go through these tables. Table 1 was a win straight away to the Czech Republic. Table 2 was also a win to the Czech Republic. Table 3, we are still waiting for this game to pan out, but I'm almost certain this is a win to Greece.
Yeah.
So this makes it 2 to the Czech Republic and 1 to Greece.
For sure.
On table 4, we have this amazing game between Khorne and Greece, but it does look like it's going to Czech Republic. So that makes it 3-1 to the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
3-1, which is pretty fun. Table 5, Khorne is played by Greece. Oh, correct, actually, so that makes it 2-2. Thank you so much.
Candle's back out.
Yeah, Candle's back out. It's 2-2.
I think he's lighting a candle for the funeral pyre of these ogres. Look at it. There it is. That's it. Throw the bodies on, burn them away, hide the shame.
This is what makes it such a good sport, right? Because, inherently based on,
he's leaning over. He could burst into flames.
I know.
That's a risk under there.
Interlinked into the very good chess mechanics is all the creativity around it.
Yeah.
It's like if you couldn't play chess unless you painted all your chess pieces.
Yeah.
Right? And then you gave them a story.
And names.
And you brought candles, and you wore an outfit. I get that chess is super good. As a competitive sport. But I honestly think tabletop games are just as good, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, so
who's this? This is Norm the Pawn.
Right, so
and he's going to become a queen.
So that's 2 for Czech Republic, right? Table 5. I'd like to know how much depravity we've got left, and I kind of recapped this game very recently, so you guys should roughly know what's happening. Wow, so 17 depravity points in the tank.
Huge.
For the Slaanesh force so that they can heal. Sorry, they can summon later. On top of the 38 that they already had. So that means that they've got 55 depravity from this game, which is roughly what they're about, which I think is really good. The prayer candle is really excellent.
It worked. They came back from a pretty rough position to get into a winning place.
Gitz will have models on the board, but they have no board presence.
Exactly.
They've got units down here, so they're trapped in. But the score is still close as well, so let's not count this out. Board presence and score make different things. Dominic still has to score with his Slaanesh force, and we still go into a priority. The priority for Slaanesh on this is really going to push into the enemy and cause a problem for them, so that's going to be difficult for Lucas. Lucas gets the turn, he gets the ability to fight back, bring a unit back, and do some other stuff. Okay.
We've just been handed a note
that Wales Kruleboyz are still alive and the KO are sweating.
Oh my God, Rob, we could have a complete KO victory round. Rob, tell me about how much that excites you. Rob, tell me how much that excites you. Tell me about how much that excites you.
I'm just deciding this is not a good event now. I don't like it here.
We're not coming back for teams. We're not coming back for teams. We don't like the result.
I don't like it. I don't want to be here.
Thank you so much for bringing us that stat. And please continue to bring them to me whenever they justify my satisfy. It is a cruel boy summer. I'm going to get my scare shield. Can we get undergarments made but with a scare shield on the pouch?
We could try.
That would be great.
But I don't want
to. Or a pair on the booty.
Right, so we need to wait to see what happens in this priority roll between Lucas and Dominic. It's pretty exciting and important.
Yeah.
Because that could pivot the game here massively. Don't forget table 5. So we don't know about table. So if we're keeping track, I don't know if I think we've lost it a little bit. It was 2-2 going into table 5. Table 5, we don't know the result right now. Table 6. We have got a big win for the Czech Republic.
For the Kruleboyz.
And the Czech Republic.
They might cap, Rob.
So that makes it 3-2.
Kruleboyz might cap.
No, they can't cap. They're a single match. They can't cap a match.
No, I'm saying, but they might get 20-0. They might cap.
No, they're not getting that many points.
They only need to get, at the moment, 2.
Yeah, don't worry.
Just heard from the table it won't be a 20-0.
So Czech Republic is currently 3-2.
Yep.
So then table 7 and table 8 are kind of more difficult matches featuring Tzeentch. I am no surprise. So Tom, with his host Duplicitous, has been able to bring a lot of change over because he's trying to get in the mix now. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it so that everything's pinned in so he can grab these objectives, hoping to shut down the damage that we see here. To recap this game, the Tzeentch deployed in this back corner, which is kind of an odd shout, really.
Yeah.
I think mainly because of the aggressive deployment that we saw from the Lumineth Realm Lords at the bottom. They didn't want to be shot off early, so they deployed away. This allowed the Lumineth to just pin them back.
I think that was the mistake. It was avoiding getting shot meant that they could be pinned and couldn't play on the objectives until late turn 2, turn 3.
I mean, that's not overly a problem, though, because he went second, he gets to choose the objective. He chose this one, which is the one he's going to move towards. And then you don't need to be in the midboard until later turns because of how this mission works. The mission, don't forget, is that all of these objectives need to be active, if that makes sense. So you activate each one as it goes through. So that's pretty important. And so now you're in this kind of position where the Tzeentch army is trying to break out. Tzeentch have just finished their turn 3, is what I've just heard.
Yes. We've just finished the Tzeentch turn 3. And we are now into the Helon turn 3. So scores being updated.
I think that should... No, I think this is going into prior into turn 4. Over there, please. Thank you. Lumineth did have a turn. Yeah, so this is going to prior turn 4. So we've had the Tzeentch turn 3, scores being updated now. So score overlay's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the top of turn 3.
Top of turn 3.
So we have the bottom of turn 3.
Correct.
Okay, so I think that's going to go super well. That's going to go, thank you. That's going to go.
Another stat's just been handed in, and they always bring me joy.
I think that's going to go really, really well for the Lumineth Realm Lords, though. That's the important part.
Absolutely, yeah.
USA versus Denmark, still too close, but Bill just took an 18-2 loss versus Gitz.
Wow.
So, as I understand it, that puts 4 wins to the USA and then 1 win to Denmark confirmed so far.
But iffy, still up in the air.
That's interesting. Someone taking out Bill Suze is a big shout.
Massive. Yeah.
But again, that's Beast of Chaos losing to Gitz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's always rock hard to do. Did I just hear that Gitz won the priority on turn 5? On table 5.
I think they might have. It looks like, look, we're seeing, the thing is, even if they can clear off these units, it'll be a big turn for damage for the Gitz, absolutely. I think if they've won the priority, they'll be able to clear off these units. But because of the placement of them, they're not going to be able to get models across to these objectives to actually score, which means they're going to need another prio after that, because the Slaanesh could summon more screens to replace the ones they lose and keep them off the objectives, keep them from getting the gold. It's been an amazing game. Super quickly to recap it, we had a big...
I think we just did that. We can come back to... Yeah. Table 5, we hit... Gitz have won priority. This is wicked. This is
won it.
Absolutely wicked for... Nope, we just heard it. Slaanesh have won the priority.
Slaanesh won.
They are staying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going for 2 battle tactics, and this is a win for the Czech Republic.
Big win.
Desecrate and this one's mine. They're doing 2 battle tactics because that's what the battle plan lets you to do. They're going to go and grab all this stuff over here. They're going to push everything forward. They're just going to yeet it. Anything. Bliss Barb Archers are going to come in and shoot. Bliss Barb Archers down here are going to come in and shoot. The unit's going to charge. They're going to summon something. I'm interested to know what actually he's got in the summoning pool. In this instance, I would maybe... actually, there might not be room. He won't summon.
He won't. Is that because he has nothing to summon?
He's got loads of points.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all mortals, meaning he has no ability to summon.
I just won't bring it.
I just won't bring anything. I'll just save myself the hassle.
Yeah. To
Worlds, I won't bring summoning. With an army...
Team Demon X I could stick in my pocket.
Literally.
Might win me a game, but I won't put him in my pocket.
No, don't want it. Don't want it. Too easy. Too easy.
Mortals or nothing. No demons for me.
No, look, it's going to be massive. And unfortunately for the Gitz, things like this one's mine, killing champions and things along those lines, when your heroes are all galley champs and they are all weedy little grots, they're very easy to put into the ground.
Yeah, so a really exciting match, lovely, but great work. And look, I think we've just got an updated scorecard there. So 18-12 to Dominic at the moment, and now he's just 21-12, and then he's just about to push into that mid board.
Yeah, big win.
So that's a big win. So then that means, if I've got this right, we've only got table 3 left, although we know that that's going to be a win for the Gloomspite Gitz. So we don't have... Table 2, we have the final score, which is unsurprising. Well, we don't... bonkers score.
We knew.
Czech Republic. Table 3 is all over. They've just got to roll some stuff out. Table 5, we're going to roll that out, but that will be over. Table 6, we've done. And then Table 7 and Table 8 are our 2 matches. And this has actually gone very interestingly. Let's go to Table 8 and talk about where we're at, because if you notice, we're now on our 3rd Lord of Change on the board. We only started with 1, and now we're into 2 more. Also, Marathi is also dead, as you can see. And so we're into these 2 Lords of Change are charging into these bow snakes here. This is Tzeentch turn, bottom of 3.
This is massive, because remember, this Tzeentch army only had 1 model capable of summoning. So if it had been shot off by those snakes early, none of those extra Lords of Change would have been brought on. It's a huge swing.
Yes, it's a really big game. To let you know, we're playing the Prize of Galette, so you turn objectives on and then you score them. And then in the first few turns, Morathi and the Bow Snakes went in pretty aggressively, and then they just weren't able to do enough damage. They got pinned in by, and I think this catches a lot of people out, a pink horror charge. The number of times I've moved a unit and then just made a 12-inch charge of pink horrors because I've just Destiny diced it has been amazing. And they're like, never know what to do. We've got a result on table 4, which is our Khorne game against Ogres. And that is, a special thank you to Warham Cam in the chat for donating 5 gift subscriptions. It'd be super awesome to have you all subscribe, and I super appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the show. There's a big crew of us working and subscribing helps support the show. Yeah. It's that simple.
It's how we can afford to do this.
Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much, team. We already broke a microphone on the way. That was yikes.
Big yikes.
Yeah, big yikes.
Big yikes. Microphones, shockingly expensive.
Shockingly weak.
Shocking, yeah. Delicate and expensive, just like my heart. If you want to buy it, you need a lot of gold.
Right, so Table 7 and Table 8 are our 2 matches that are playing out. But I would actually say Table 8 is all over. So Thomas Root, representing Team Czech Republic, has got himself a Guild of Summoners Tzeentch force. And as you can see here, thanks to Pragmatic, also for donating 5 gift subscriptions. That's great.
Amazing.
Thank you. So he's been able to summon these Lords of Change. It's just gotten very interestingly. This is the first time we've seen a Guild of Summoners game actually over the past. This is our 3rd round. We've got 3 more to come. We've actually seen more Lords of Change on the board. Yeah, well, okay, let's remember at the start, not to go right the way back, but we had this powerful W of blues, of horrors, and we had Kairos in behind, and facing off against them with a full might of the Daughters' archery. Now, they easily had the ability to reach over and shoot Kairos to death. My guess is that they had a bad roll, a bad turn of shooting, and didn't take down the bin chicken, because that meant they ended up getting tagged into the bottom of this combat, locked up. Morathi had to go in as well, and they didn't bring the unit down. So they just left Kairos safe, casting his spells, allowing them to generate those points and bring in the other big birds. And it's really, really interesting to see. I thought we were at a turkey shoot. I thought we were going to see Kairos absolutely peppered, the massive force multiplier from the army gone. I'm actually really, really impressed. Yeah. Really, really impressed. Table 7, John's got a shot of the clock on table 7. They are down to the wire. Yeah, well, there's only 26 minutes left on the round. Yep. So that pretty much ties up what's on the clocks. So let's go. This is going to be very close. We are getting updates from the rounds as quickly as possible. Obviously, the other games have started to wrap up now. You can see just behind us, if you want to look, you can see like Northern Ireland. You've seen Team Belgium as well. They've been playing against the Swiss this round. So that's been a kind of like inner Europe battle. And then we've got other results to come in as well. So we've got Germany versus Wales. That's a pretty big match as well. Most likely we're going to be getting the host nation, the Netherlands, on the stream next, playing against someone. But it really depends on the math. I need to sit down during lunch with the TOs, and I need to work out if one of the teams has got like, if we won 20 next turn, next battle, next round of the 6, we win the event. The game is structured, so the scores are structured, so that shouldn't be possible. Yes. But it depends on what everyone else does. Yeah, exactly. And remember, the other thing we're trying to do is make sure we're bringing you the big matches towards the end, the ones that could affect the result. And so if, for instance, we were bringing those matches now, you might see, for instance, USA play on every single stream for the rest of it. We got 24 nations here. We got lots of different strategies, lots of different styles, and lots of different people, and we want to bring you coverage from as much of a cross-section of
like
if I'd have had my choice, I obviously would have never had Kruleboyz on the stream, but the Czech Republic brought the spice. Yeah, we got to see Idneth Deepkin not do well, but it's still interesting. It's a little bit more dynamic, right?
Absolutely. And so, Rob, it sounds like no matter where we were showing Kruleboyz, they were going to be the winner, because it sounds like they might be about to take down the KO.
Who are?
Kruleboyz.
Yeah, that's another game happening on somewhere else out there in the field. So we don't know about that result so far, but we'll wait to see it.
So let's have a look back here. We've got we've still got 2 tables live. We've got they're all
we've got 2 tables live. Although I will say, we do have a result on table 8.
Wow,
and
what is it?
That is a legitimately excellent result for Thomas
My goodness.
versus Spiridon for Team Greece. That's honestly really impressive. I think if I was Spiridon, I'd be super excited about that. I think that's really, really good. And then let me see. And then
I don't want it. No, actually, I do want it. It's exactly what I wanted to hear. But it is shocking. We just got handed a note, and it is my face just exploded, the most shocking piece of news that we've ever received. So, Ronya, undefeated at Worlds.
Well, actually, last World she was undefeated 11 games in a row. Singles 5 games, team 6 games.
Yep.
Then she came to the singles this year, went undefeated again. That puts her on 16 wins.
Last 2 rounds, what did she do, Rob?
She won. Undefeated. That puts her on 18 wins in a row at Worlds.
This round, she came up against Australia. She came up against KO, was right on the ropes, got doubled.
One of the toughest matches.
Huge. Big double turn from the KO, and guess what has happened to Ronya? Nothing. She is still undefeated.
I've heard she's so fast dust can't land on her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how quick she is.
Yeah.
Like, so Ronya is on the 19 now with 3 more to go.
Ronya, you can't stop her.
Yeah,
she's doing it.
She's got 3 more to go.
To be completely honest, that's what I wanted. I want Australia to win the round, but I want Ronya to win the match because I do not want to be the country that stopped that. The entire chat, hundreds of people will despise whichever nation breaks that winning streak.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine it's game 22.
Oh, it will be
right,
as well.
Because it's a total of 22, right? So she's currently 19 from 22. Yeah. With those 22, like those 3 more to play.
Yeah.
So
lots of love in the chat. Look at that.
Yeah, that's lovely. So Swedish Ronya, and then maybe there's someone. I don't think there's many other people. In fact, actually, jumping back to table 5. Table 3, Lucas went 5-0 at the event this weekend.
He did.
So Lucas Kaluza. The singles event that's just gone.
Yep.
Gitz have won priority on this game, and that is all over for Gitz on this one. Jan has tried his hardest there to fight it out, but BC Chaos just do not do well in a back-and-forth trading game.
Yeah.
He did nothing went his way. Like, he was just I would say this is a matchup he never wins.
Yeah.
Then he especially doesn't win it if he doesn't get that turn 2 prior.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is pretty rough. I actually had a bit of a pulse there. People afraid that Ronya was going to lose.
Oh, I might have baited the trap a little bit with how I presented that. Yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. But I just wanted you to feel something.
So we've only got one match really that I think is in contention, and this is table 7. The score's currently pretty close. It's 13-9. 13-9. And we've just got to wait to see how it pans out for this matchup. So
yeah. Table 5.
Table 5. A bit, yes.
Game state change.
Yeah, so we knew that this was happening.
Yeah,
all of the Gitz went to Slaanesh. And this is quite interesting, actually. I'm actually really happy to see this, Dan. I haven't been overly keen on the Slaanesh picks, actually, for Worlds this year. I didn't think that they were very good choices.
Right, okay.
I think I would have put Sylvaneth in the mix over Slaanesh. But watching an actual Slaanesh game here, and actually Michael Clark's from Australia's yesterday, I saw some like pretty prodigious play.
Absolutely.
And I saw some good stuff. So it's quite nice. The builds are very formulated.
Cookie cutter. It's a bit like McDonald's chicken nuggets. They're all the same shape.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of odd. And then I do worry about like the health of the book, like over a 2 year. I mean, HC4 is next year, so it won't matter. But like it will be very samey all the time. You can change stuff out though. Michael Clark's list is different. He's got a lot of change, Keeper of Secrets.
Yep.
And in this list that doesn't exist. So it's quite interesting. It's fun to see. There's some nice differences, but it's really nice seeing the team's strategy work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously I know that they put the work in on these. Those pairings making a lot of sense now. When we hear about them, Beast going into Gitz, you're like, Beast going into Gitz, you know that that's a loss. So yeah, if we want to try and retrack this round really quickly, I think we've been doing this, but table 1 and 2 are done. Table 3, that's going to go to Greece.
Absolutely.
That's going to go to Greece. Table 4 also went to Greece.
Yep.
And then table 5
is going to go to Greece as well.
It's going to go to Greece as well. That's absolutely true.
Okay, so table 1 and 2 to the Czech Republic. Table 3 to 5 to Greece.
Amazing.
Table 6.
I think this should be what we're at so far. We're going to get some more scores in a minute, but currently 37-23. Thanks, Ziggy. Table 6
looks like it's going to go Czech Republic. Kruleboyz Summer.
It does look like it's going to go Czech Republic. Czech Republic on that one on table 6. And table 8, which is one we can confirm because I know it's happening, is going to also Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. So
and then table 7 is currently, I'm just going to try and get the scorecard updated and make sure it's right. It's 13. We're waiting for it to update. Oh, there you go. It just updated. Hold on. It's 15-8 to Thomas. So Thomas obviously representing Team Greece.
Which means if he does take this match, we have 4 matches a team. So it's going to come down to those points.
I think, I like looking at the board state, because that Lord of Change is dead now, right? Yeah, Lord of Change is dead. This is, I still think this should go, because what turn are we in? We're in turn 3. Okay, the guys are rushing because they only have 17 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a win to Lumineth, in my opinion. So that's going to be another win for the Czech Republic. So I don't know where that puts us.
That'll put us at 5 matches to the Czech Republic to 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Greece.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would say that makes sense. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like, don't forget, this is Greece's first event at AOS Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Czech Republic were the host nation last year.
Yep.
And while they have a smaller community, very much like Greece, they get to travel to a lot of the local countries. They play a lot, and also a lot of people want to go to Czech Republic events because those guys are great fun to play. I don't know if you've ever been to any of those events, but they're wicked fun. Yeah. Like, they're super engaging. They're having a great time. So they've got a slightly smaller community, and they got a cap last year as well. So they've also walked into this with a little bit more experience.
Yeah.
So Greece have had a pretty amazing showing. Greece beat Belgium.
Amazing.
Belgium huge. Did you guys win? Okay. So USA versus France, I think. We're just hearing about a French update. Thank you, Milladin.
Okay, so it's
one of my favourite Warhammer players now. I've decided
it's not locked in though. It seems like it's going towards France, and it probably will, but it isn't locked in. There's still 2 games live.
Yeah, so I would say the next game might be for the event. I need to go do the math, but it's probably going to be France versus the USA on the top table.
Wow.
Because they've lowballed their win. They've been getting wins, but they've been settling around the 100 mark.
Yeah.
So they haven't hit the big hitters. Or it's not a legitimate strategy, but like there's a smart play in. Although I think they would have been going for 120s. I have no doubt about that. USA versus Denmark is currently happening. Right now, in my opinion. I would say Team England looking like they maybe have brought a game back, the round back. There's some smiley faces over. Don't forget, England dropped a round last year. Yesterday. Yeah, this year. Sorry.
Yep.
They dropped a round. So
amazing.
They're going to be hoping. John, can you just change the brightness on that, please? So they're going to be looking to have brought their round back, and it looks like they may have. They're playing against Spain.
Yeah, and remember, Spain had one player who didn't even have to play a game last round, just put his models on the board and took the win.
Yeah. Tell me how the Dwarf Slayers USA is going. 3 wins over KO. 3 wins over KO.
Massive.
Yeah, so you probably knew that before we knew that, but 3 games over KO, which is crazy. Crazy. So we haven't had the results in yet. So we will be waiting as time goes on. I see some handshakes over from the USA.
Yeah,
and Denmark.
Looks like some rounds are finishing up. Okay, we are hearing from table 7.
Yeah,
we are in the bottom of round 3, which is the Tzeentch players' turn, where we're really avoiding interacting with that game because they have very little time remaining, and it's obviously very, very techy. Tzeentch players notably needing to use all their time a very specific army. Lumineth players obviously just rubbish because they're filthy elf players. The Lumineth player has just under 5 minutes left, meaning that we only have to watch Lumineth do anything for 5 more minutes.
Well,
Goodness
Dan,
gracious
don't worry,
me, take them off the board.
Dan, don't worry, because I've got the results of Denmark-America.
Okay, should we count this officially, or should we go back to finger pointing?
Finger pointing.
Finger pointing,
right.
baby. Okay,
I've
got my 7 working and my 1 dodgy finger ready for nuggets.
If everyone's excited.
Let's do this.
So Denmark Slaves to Darkness.
Yeah.
Got 2 points against America's More Tribes.
Wow, big win for America. Big win for America.
And then Denmark's Gloomspite Gitz got 18 points against America's Beast of Chaos.
Okay, 1 for 1.
Okay, all right, 1 for 1. Now, Denmark's Carriage and Overlords got 2 points.
Yep.
Against America's Fire Slayers of 18 points.
Big win.
Okay, big win for America. So that's 2 for America, right?
Yeah.
2 for America.
2 for America, 1 for Denmark.
Denmark, Sylvaneth got 12 points against America's Khorne for 8 points.
Tight win,
but still a win.
2-2.
Denmark's BC Chaos got 17 points against America's Tzeentch. Okay, so that's another one for Denmark.
Okay, yep, they're getting in there. That's
Denmark's Tzeentch got 0 points.
No.
Against America's KO.
Wow, okay.
Then Denmark's Slaanesh got 13 points America's Seraphon, which means someone beat Gavin, which is huge. Huge. And then finally, Denmark's LRL got 20 points against America's Gitz.
5-3.
5-3. Denmark, ladies and gentlemen, got 84 points against the USA 76, making Denmark the front runners. Also, while they did beat the USA, the USA did not lose by as much as the English did.
Nowhere near as much. Wow, really tight. And Rob, before we break that down, I just got handed a piece of paper.
Oh yeah?
Do you want to know what my piece of paper says?
Tell me.
My piece of paper is talking about one particular match out there in the ether, one with some hot boys that might be a tiny little bit cruel, Rob.
God.
They were playing against KO.
Good round.
Now, we saw Kruleboyz on the table take out a Slaves to Darkness army, kill our Khaine, get the win.
Dan, hurry up. We've got other stuff to do. Just tell me.
In their matchup into KO, Kruleboyz have gone and got the bloody win. They've got the bloody win! Get the tattoo guns out across the knuckles. KRU double L Krull. Everybody. Rob, let's get it on the knuckles. Kruleboyz Summer. Here we go.
Okay.
Who brought them? 2 teams brought them. What's their win rate at the moment? They've got 3 wins and 1 loss.
Have they got 1 loss?
I think, or maybe 2 losses.
They've got 2 losses. You're just not counting them.
I don't count the losses. Forget the losses. Which
other team is playing them? Another team of idiots is just playing them. Right, okay. So I have some other results, and we've got some results from the table as well.
50% win rate. 50% win rate for Kruleboyz.
We got some results from the table as well. So we've got France versus Poland.
Okay.
So France currently in a leading position with 81 points, but they have 2 games to go. So France might get a bunch of points here. England are playing against Spain. England have got 79 points against Spain's, but there's 2 more points to go. So it's going to be a win for England.
Wow, okay,
I mean, unless Spain get 2 20s, which I very much doubt. So England's starting to get some points back on the board as well after that big defeat. But that win, that difference between Denmark and America does mean that the scores have closed up a little bit, which is pretty amazing. So, then in our matches, we do have some results. We do have some results as well for everyone at home. We got table 7. They're rushing through this final turn now. They're powering through it. We did get some updates. Oh, I need. Pardon me. We just get this update.
Lumineth have 1 priority, meaning they're going to be picking up a decent amount of points this turn. They've taken Cunning Maneuver, I believe, which... Yeah, they could probably pick up this one in the background. There we go.
Look, this is Khorne Candle. Did this help? All 6s. All sixes. Just like the kind of...
Yep, great. The fire hazard around a bunch of people who are lit up with deodorant, wearing very, very flammable synthetic jerseys. However, you know what I noticed? Team Greece, they're wearing cotton, much
Greece
less
are the best,
flammable.
Man.
Less flammable.
I want more Greek players.
Give me it all.
Honestly, Greek players are like some of my favourite people to see play. Because this is how they play. They're like, what you rolling here? What is this here?
What is this dice doing? Why aren't you better?
Oh, God, I love them so much. Right, anyway, amazing work. We got a final score from Table 6, which is 24-19, I think, if that's right. Table 6, sorry. Table 6 is... Oh, no, that's right, yeah. 24-19. Yep. We're still rolling out everything on Table 5, but that will be over. There's only 8 minutes on the round. I think we can call it quite nicely. It does look like... we've got what was it, 5-3 to the Czech Republic.
At the moment, 5-3. If Table 7 does go to the Czech Republic, it's 5-3. If it goes to Greece, it's 4-4.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to confirm lots of people are now coming up to show us the Kruleboyz won a game sign. Very excited. The best part is that they don't even know that Kruleboyz have won 2, which means they are currently 3-4-3, meaning Kruleboyz are at a 50% win rate.
It's like saying like a kid kicked a ball in a goal. You're like, it's cool that he did it, but why is he in the FA Cup? Like get an adult.
He kicked a goal, Rob.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Rob,
get an adult to play.
Is a kid just went into the FIFA World Cup and he scored a goal against fully grown adults. That's what happened.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Yeah. I would just leave him at home. I'd be like, when you're older, kid, you can play. But anyway, this is I think our games are all wrapped up now. I just want to make sure we do justice to them all.
Yeah.
We've concluded that one. This game is probably the one that's like most interesting between the table bosses, even though their entire job is to update the scores, are still being very confused by this. So I assume the players are being fairly chaotic as well.
I think so as well.
And that's super okay.
It's a shell game at the moment on that table.
So we're not too stressed. I want the table bosses to know they're doing a wonderful job. Table 7, the score has fluctuated wildly. I've just pressed a button, it changed from 18 to 13. I'm going to just trust you. What is the score? Tell me what the score is on the table, please. It's 18-11.
It is 18-11.
Okay,
correct.
so it's 18-11 for Loomrath Realm Lords, and that's going to go to them.
Yeah.
As I said, yeah. Right, okay.
Is everyone paralyzed just by the Kruleboyz win? I'm not paralyzed. I'm energized.
Lumineth only have 30
seconds left on the clock, meaning that he's going to have that. And then after that point in time, he can only roll saves.
He can only roll saves, yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, okay, that puts us in interest in place. So let's just talk about that again, just for people who are keeping track. Mm-hmm. The Netherlands have secured another win. Italy got 116 versus Northern Ireland.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, Viva Italia.
Close, yeah.
Oh, good round.
Yeah,
good round,
nice
Italy.
round. Yeah,
good job.
Stuff,
yeah, okay, wow. Okay, Northern Ireland, that was a bit rough for them, but there you go.
Tuffy.
Great work. Not sure how the Welsh have done against the Germans yet. Maybe Matt Goldsborough could tell me.
I don't know. Like,
shaky hands.
I heard Jay beat them. Jay, you won with Kruleboyz.
Yeah.
The real question is, why did you bring Kruleboyz?
Memes.
Memes.
Yeah, he brought it for the memes.
That's right.
Brought it for the memes.
That's right. That's why I go to the World Championships. Memes.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So Tzeentch game has finished. It's now 18-14. And then Tzeentch won priority into turn 5. So that's going to be
with no time left on their clock, meaning that Tzeentch will have the win for Greece.
Yeah.
Won't they? Is that?
We're just going to wait until the very end on that game now. Because I want you to know I'm not that invested in the result. Yeah, I just need to know for the team. Yeah, this game has been a cluster of nonsense.
Yeah, it is. It's like trying to watch a cat pick apart a ball of string, and we are mathematicians trying to work out the odds on it. So we're hearing from the table boss that it's been a nightmare for them as well because they used one scorecard, then abandoned it and used another when they forgot about the first scorecard, and are randomly slapping those two scorecards together to achieve the desired outcome. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to remember that the USA loss was points. It was less than 10.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like, I actually think, let me think about this. I think the USA went into that game with a lead higher than 10 points.
Absolutely.
And so, like, that actually only equals out the score between Denmark and the USA right now.
Yep.
Right? So France are going to be the major issues now for everyone wanting to win. They'll have been slowly sneaking up. Thank you very much. Norway versus Ireland.
Ooh,
wow, Republic of Ireland.
The catch cry for the Republic of Ireland was not last. And they
did
get a win yesterday, but a couple of big losses will push them back down. How are we looking, Rob? I've got the fingers ready.
Anything but last. So Norway playing Fire Slayers into Nighthaunt for Ireland. They got 13 points, Norway. Go them.
Okay, yep.
Saves of Darkness for Norway. Got 20 points out of Ireland's Nurgle. Yikes.
Okay.
Norway's Khorne got 19 points out of Ireland's Flesh Eater Khorne.
Not last is not looking good?
No, because obviously Austria will be doing terribly.
Okay.
And then Norway's...
Obviously.
Obviously. And then Norway's KO.
Yep.
I've got 16 points against Ireland's 4.
Oh, dear.
Okay, and then Norway's LRL have got 1 point versus Ireland's He-Knights of Slaanesh, so let's go.
There we go, got one on the board,
Then Norway's Beast of Chaos are going to get 3 points out of Ireland's 17 for Tzeentch.
Wow,
nice
okay,
work.
nice.
Then Norway's He-Knights of Slaanesh got 16 points from Ireland's Khorne.
6-2.
And then Norway's Gitz got 19 points. Gear stepping himself back up after LRLs for Ireland. That put them on 107. 107 to 53. 107 to 53 points for Norway. So shout out.
Big.
Yeah, Ronja also didn't just beat the KO army that she played against.
Yeah.
She 20-0'd.
I know. Massive. Massive. Not even disappointed. I would have
They were
liked...
like, are you going to beat me? She's like, no, you're not only not going to beat me, I'm going to 20-0
I'm going to look stressed. I'm going to let you double turn me, and then I'm going to 20-0 you.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's just kind of recap.
Wow.
Let's try to recap.
Stunning.
Stunning stuff. Let's recap for everyone. We have Denmark and France probably in the lead and probably playing the next round for the win.
Yep.
In many ways. The reason I say for the win is I'm not sure there are many other teams out there who have the...
Oh, I think we just saw the handshake on this last table, meaning that in about 5 minutes, once they've slapped all the numbers together, we might have some semblance of a score.
Oh, amazing. Oh, perfect. Okay, so let me give you an overlay thanks to Ziggy. So these are scores as they came in now. Norway with that big win versus Ireland. Italy with that huge win versus Northern Ireland. The whole continent of Ireland having a tough day.
Yeah. You know who else is having a tough day? Australia.
Oh, Jesus.
My gosh. I didn't know how they'd go against Sweden.
You got 3 points out of it, though.
They got 3 points.
Well, you got 43. So 40 is the bottom score you can get. Sweden with 117. Wow. They were mad that they did bad last night.
Yeah.
And so Sweden come in swinging with 117 versus Australia, which is massive yikes. That's actually the biggest loss for Australia at the event so far. Looking... Canada versus Scotland, super close, but Scotland just ahead. Okay. That's pretty nice. Looking like a solid Australia win. That's not correct.
No. You read that wrong.
Looking like a solid Austria win. Color me purple.
How dare they? Can we just, if you are in the chat, get furious because it looks like they're going to beat Serbia, the darlings of this tournament. How dare you, Austria?
That's actually really rude.
Yeah,
actually,
really rude.
Dislike the Australians more.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you beat Serbia?
Came back. Yes, you did. You came back with a 19-1. Yes, there you go. There you go. I'm proud of you. Against Lumineth as well.
Yeah, you show those elves who's boss.
You shouldn't have done that. That's good because your head was low yesterday, and I'm cuddle
The only thing better than a dwarf is a dead elf, so I love to see it.
Let's go. What happened in the Oz game? Oh boy.
Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it. Let's move on back to this because we've got a final result on table 7. We do have a final result.
We do have a final result on table 7, and it's 26 points going to Team Czech Republic and Lumineth Realm Lords.
That we have a 5-3 result for the Czech Republic.
Yeah, we will get the scores put in, but I just want to keep going through this for everyone at home. Look at that. Okay, so the win between Denmark and the USA was only 4 points. Sorry, 8 points.
Yep.
The difference. So if we just check from yesterday and look at how much the USA was ahead by. I think and you can find this always out on the tSports Network Twitter if you want to go check it out. But the USA were on 227 and Denmark were on 226. So Denmark currently only have a 7-point lead. Thank you. Oh, that was from yesterday. There you go. Yeah. But that's obviously, this isn't round 3 results, that's round 2 results.
Yeah.
So that means Denmark are only going to have a 7-point lead over the USA. We haven't had the Polish result yet as well. They're really close. France getting a really big round. If we... can you go back to the other screen then so I can look at the Polish result? Thank you. I'll try and find the Polish result. This is great. Wonderful. Poland played France. Yikes. Okay, so France on 114. So thank you so much, you superstar. Thank you. So we'll go back to... if we go back to the other screen, France were trailing almost 30 points.
Yeah.
So they were trailing almost 30 points. So that brings them back. To, I would say, USA, Denmark, and this is going to be quite interesting, Dan, because USA, Denmark, and France are actually all going to be on the same points.
Oh, wow.
USA, Denmark, and France at the end of this round will all be on the same points.
Interesting.
Because there's been a 30-point swing, which brings France back in line with USA and Denmark who played each other.
Wow.
But France have now probably got to play the USA and Denmark over the next 2 rounds. But then USA don't have to play Denmark anymore. They'll pick up the next in bracket, which will probably end up being Sweden. So if USA can pop Sweden, then they only have to beat France on round 5 for the event.
The absolute winner. Wow.
Okay, so this is pretty interesting. So we've got a 3-way race.
Yeah.
With Sweden just trailing behind. USA, Denmark, France in the 3-way race.
Yep.
With USA and Denmark having already played. Okay, France and Denmark will be up next. USA probably into Sweden. That's where we'll leave it. That's pretty exciting.
That's going to be good. And I just heard just a little bit of a side note from Team Belgium. Things are looking okay. Things are looking okay. And specifically, I heard that Gotrek chopped up 20 Sentinels in a single round, which brings me no joy, brings me nowhere near as much joy as it would if he'd chopped up 40. But 20's nice. 20's nice.
There are rules against rematches. They won't replay each other because it's based on the points. So, that won't happen. So it will be all about those interlocking... France are going to have to play against USA and Denmark. Definitely at this stage of the competition. And then probably Denmark will have to play the Swedes. USA will have to play the Swedes.
This is a hell of a tournament, as said in the chat. Previously, we've seen last year, for instance, we saw caps. We saw big runaway wins very, very early. This is really tight.
We just heard Belgium got 76 points against Switzerland's 84.
Wow.
So Switzerland 84, Belgium 76.
Doesn't matter though, Gotrek killed a bunch of elves. I don't care about it. It's only thing better than a dwarf is a dead elf, and he did a lot of dead elves.
Yeah, Italy is also in the mix, that's true. But it's gonna be, I mean, there's some dominant matches now. So that's where we're at. We've covered, or we're gonna recap. We will tweet out the final standings as they come in, but those are the results. What you're looking at to win the World Team Championships 2023, you're looking at 4 teams in contention.
Big.
USA, France, Netherlands, Denmark, and
Italy,
Sweden.
Australia.
No.
Australia.
So again, just so you know, USA, France, Denmark, and Sweden. That's probably the front runners for the whole event. France will have to play Denmark next. France, if they get a dominant position, they might just blow it out of the water.
Yep.
If it's a similar match to the USA, then it's going to come down to that match between Sweden and the USA.
Yeah.
Then whichever one of those jumps up, if USA get a massive game, then it's just pretty much France. No, it's the winner. It's them against France.
Yeah.
They need to beat France heavily.
They do. And beating France heavily is no easy feat.
Yeah. Italy might also get in there as well. I haven't looked at the results. This is some paper math I'm doing in my head.
This is brain math.
This is brain math.
This is grey matter math.
This is brain math, right? And there's still 3 rounds to go. We still
have a day and a half.
3 rounds to go.
We've been streaming for 2.5 days, and we're only halfway.
It's so exciting. So exciting.
We're halfway there.
Whoa!
Rolling dice in chairs.
Right, we're going.
We're getting out before it gets worse.
Okay, so we're going to put a screen up now. It's going to tell you what the times are. We will tweet out and post out on our socials all of the results.
Yes.
And then at the start of the next round, we'll also recap the results from the previous round. So I hope that works for everyone. Everyone in the chat, thanks for joining us live. Hope you've really enjoyed it. If you want to subscribe to support the show, that would help. Thank you to Dan for being a great co-commentator.
Thank you to Rob for being spectacular and making all this happen.
Thank you to Mark. Thank you to Mark, Charlie, and also Mike and Ziggy for bringing us all the information from around the room. See you guys soon. Loads of love.